Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council, which is being called to order at 6 p.m. Today is August 23rd, 2022, regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council. Madam Clerk, can you please take roll call?
Dave Abdallah.
Here.
Hassan Ahmad.
Here.
Mo Beydoun.
Here.
Nancy Breyer. Here. Robert Constant.
Here.
Ray Muscat.
Here.
Tom Wenzel.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much.
Here.
And now to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like to ask my brother Al Abdallah to go ahead and lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
I won't call any nepotism there.
Next up on the agenda is item number 3. This is Dearborn Heights City Council approving the amended agenda.
Council Chair,
Councilman Beydoun.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the amended agenda of the regular meeting of August 23rd, 2022 as submitted. Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Beydoun, supported by Councilman that went to Muscat.
Is it supposed to be seconded, Council Chair?
Yeah, he supported it.
I know. So you're supposed to say seconded?
Yeah, we could go either way. We're going to have a meeting on that next Tuesday. All right. So seconded by Councilman Muscat. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item number 4. Number 4, approval of the minutes.
Council Chair,
Councilman
I
Muscat.
move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the minutes of the regular meeting of August 9th, 2022, as outlined in 4A.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Muscat, seconded by Councilman Beydoun. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item on our agenda is public hearings and comment on agenda items only. So for those of you in the audience or on Zoom, if you have any comments on anything that we're going to be voting on the agenda, please come on up. You will have 2 minutes, and please state your name and street. And again, this is for agenda items only.
Hello, my name is Larry Henney. I live on Hickory Court in Dearborn Heights. And I'm here to speak about the rezoning of the lots on Inkster Road to be multifamily as opposed to residential or office. And I'm here to tell you that I'm not opposed to the change at all. I live on Hickory Court. My property backs up to the proposed property change. But my concern is the infrastructure, and I have spoken to a few of you concerning the fact that I'm concerned about it. The property there is all clay. When I helped develop the property of the Hickory Ridge condos, and at the time, as we dug the basements, we saw that there was nothing but clay. Every single one of the condos there have cracks in the basements and in the walls. And the reason for that is because it's built on clay. It's simple. I have complete confidence in Mr. Dibb, his ability to make sure that the engineering is done properly, but that is my concern, that the engineering is done properly, and that we take every precaution necessary in building on the property. Here's a photo of a, and Mr. Abdullah,
I've seen it before.
I believe I gave it to you. Standing water on the property next door. It's 6 months out of the year. There's ducks floating on it. So that's my only concern. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anybody else that needs to comment on agenda items? Come on up, sir.
Hello, my name is John DeMarco, and I own one of those lots that gentleman was just talking about. I own the property at the corner of Hass and Inkster. This rezoning for me would be bad. Okay, right now the property is set up as 4 lots. If you were to look at the south side, there are 4 homes. If you mirror it over, you would basically have a reflection of our property. But with our property being uniquely located across from the hospital, All the interests have been in somehow, some way, can they complement or work with the hospital? And by zoning this just residential, it may take away those opportunities. Now, the letter that came from planning that promoted or pushed for this idea, it's to encourage new development, generate revenue for the city itself. I think with my property being uniquely located on the corner, we're talking almost an acre of property, with a light, it would push more to be more light commercial than it would residential. So I'm requesting, I'm going to be selfish here, that my property not be rezoned the RA. You can expand it RA/office, but don't restrict me with just RA. Because the individuals that have been calling and shown interest have talked about an imaging center, a physical therapy facility, even a medical office. So everything has been to complement and to work off of the hospital directly across the street. So are you guys going to vote like on item number 9, at least this agenda that was on, yeah, it would be number 9 there. So are you just going to look at it and just say approve, or are you going to go by each one?
So we will go agenda item by agenda item until we get to that one, and then the council members will vote on it, if that's what you're asking.
Correct.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, so item number D is the one that I'm concerned with, I believe.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Council Chair,
Yes, Councilman.
do we have the proposed developer here or no?
It's not a particular developer, it's just a changing of the zoning.
Okay.
Anybody else that has any comments on agenda items, please come on up.
Hello, Council, Mayor. Kurt Whitmore, Hazelton Street. I'm here to address item 11A, which establishes the Watersheds Commission. This would in fact combine two existing commissions, the Watershed Stewards and the Ecorse Creek. I'm not totally opposed to the idea. I'm just not sure how well it would work. There are two distinct purposes for each of the commissions. Part of my concern is that the members who have joined those commissions joined them because of the particular and unique purpose of that commission. Ecorse Creek being flooding, and Watershed Stewards, which is over 20 years of commission here with the city, has been more environmental and aligned with our stormwater permitting processes and everything. Aside from that, I've read through it all, and I believe there are important parts that have been left out. For instance, the Watershed Steward Commission has student members, and there's no mention of student members in the new ordinance. The Watershed Steward Commission also has an escrow account with the Treasurer's Office of approximately $2,000, and there's no discussion with what happens with that. So I just think that at this point in time, I cannot support the passage or the reading even of this ordinance. I think it just needs more work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else?
Hello, everyone. Al Abdallah. I'm the realtor that's involved with my client, John, over here. And
I'm sorry. Name, street, city.
did I not say my name, street and city?
No.
God, my brother. All right, Al Abdallah, 6428 North Inkster Road, Dearborn Heights. Anything else?
Sorry, street you live on.
No need to add, it's just a street.
Lila Lane. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I'm a rookie. It's okay. All right. So the reason we're here is obviously, like you were saying, now you guys are proposing something with, multifamily to, better Inkster Road to build whatever they want to build. We understand and respect that. There's other vacant lots that they can possibly build something like that. But that particular lot we're talking about, I currently have an active offer on it for a purchaser to develop commercial office/medical, et cetera, on that almost acre of land. So if this gets changed over and gets approved, that changes everything for my client and for us on the buy side and the list side. So we'd appreciate if you guys, if you're going to do anything, just at least that corner lot, because it's on the light, because it's across from the hospital, because of the way it sits, and it sits next to another, what they call it, it's another building next to it that holds mentally disabled, people. The group home, I'm sorry. And that being next to it and what we're planning to do or wanting to do, I think they just complement each other as opposed to a condo or an apartment or something else. And I think that corner lot should be an exception, especially because there's something active we're currently working on, and we're hoping that you guys consider, out of everything you're doing, to keep that one of the exceptions, for my client and for the buyer that's trying to develop something there. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anybody? Yes,
Alabama,
Councilman.
by the way.
Good looking, Abdullah. One quick question, just to make sure I'm not gonna. So you have a potential developer for a lot and it's right on Inkster Road?
Yeah, the lot is on Inkster and Hass. It's on the corner at the light.
Okay.
And I have somebody wanting to develop something there that we are working on. That'd be commercial use, of course, not multifamily or residential. It'd be more medical / building office, the way it's currently zoned.
I got you.
So
Thank you.
it should have both options on that one. Thank you.
Anybody else has a comment on agenda items?
We have one
Yeah,
on
I'm going to go to
Zoom.
Zoom now.
Okay.
Anybody else in the audience? Okay, Madam Clerk, can we go to Zoom, please?
There he goes.
Good evening, everyone. Tim Emery, Eaton, Dearborn Heights. I agree with what Mr. Whitmore was saying about the two commissions. When he called me and told me, I just think we should have been notified about it.
Tim, I'm sorry. I guess this is a part of my job where I got to police this. When he called you and told you, then you got cut off, so you got to repeat that. I'm sorry.
Okay. When Kurt let me know that what was going on with the commissions being combined, I just felt we should have been notified, the commissions should have been notified by letter or something, just to let them know this was in the works.
Okay. Is that it, sir?
That is it.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
Okay.
Anybody else on Zoom? Seeing none. Anybody else in the audience? All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go ahead and go to the next section, section number 6, fund transfers and current claims.
Council Chair,
Councilman
I
Baydun.
move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the current claims 6-1 through 6-12, 6-14, through 6-60, and 6-62 through 6-95 as submitted.
Second. Okay, motion made by Councilman Baydun, seconded by Councilman Muscat. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 8A, reports from the mayor. Item 8A is Corporation Council appointment confirmation.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council rescind Council Motion 22-318, the appointments of Ms. Nadia Hamedi as Corporation Counsel. In addition, approve the appointment of Mr. Roger Farinha as Corporation Counsel, term to begin September 1st, 2022, in accordance with Section 513A and Section 5.15 of the City Charter as outlined in 8-A.
Support. Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, supported by or seconded by Councilman Muscat. Is there any discussion on that?
Go ahead.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad, go ahead.
I read the resume of Mr. Farinha, and it seems like an impressive resume. But we didn't see any experience with municipalities, even though he has a lot of experience with criminal law, which is way more, which I think will benefit, I guess, probably the city in a way. But I don't know if Mr. Is he here or?
No, he's not.
He's not here. Okay, Mr. Mayor, do you want to say more about?
Yeah, so the resume, that it was just basically that was like a synopsis of, everything that some of the stuff that he's done. I do have some bullet points that I took, from the information that you saw. So he does have a lot of experience with state. He's done with congressional, state, dealt with Washington DC on numerous occasions with different initiatives. With the school board, he worked with Mayor Duggan for 4 years on some stuff, the city of Detroit, that's 4 years municipal stuff with Mayor Duggan. He done forfeitures, real estate. He's got a lot of real estate experience. Also done, obviously, litigation, prosecution. And there's also, as I mentioned, real estate, a lot of corporation experience, done a lot of international work.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of projects overseas, which I hope he can bring Lara.
So he did work with a lot of, actually 42 countries, and that he worked with. Those are municipalities that he worked overseas. So he's bringing a lot of knowledge that he's got overseas. And me, myself, I worked with different cities overseas, being a cohort or mentor to 3 countries that we participated in. So you get a lot of interesting information that you get, some newly developed countries. So this is something that is very value added to our city.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I can say myself, I made some calls. I don't know the gentleman myself personally, but I did make some calls just to do some of my research and called on people that I trust in the legal field, people that are of good character, and I was told nothing but good things in regards to the gentleman, Roger Farinha. I also want to point out to our fellow council members that this is an at-will appointment. Therefore, just to clarify for the audience and for some of the council members, it's at the discretion of the mayor as far as who they select to appoint. And at that particular point, they bring the person forward. Then it's our discretion as council members to vote yes or no on that. But it does start with the mayor's administration appointing, whether it's an attorney or department head, et cetera, and then we just confirm that particular appointment. But I do want to point out that not only did I get good character reference in regards to the gentleman or the attorney, I also heard that, yes, he is able to handle a lot of stuff within the city. And in addition to that, he's got 35 years of law experience. So as with most attorneys, if you've done law for 35 years, you've done it all. You've done some divorces, you've done some criminal, you've done a little of everything, especially when they start out with almost everything, and then eventually they go into their specialties.
Council Chair?
Yes.
Where was that experience? Because his bar number is a P62,000 bar number.
He graduated from Boston in 19, as an attorney in 1984. He completed, 87. From Boston School of Law in 1987.
Okay.
And he's been 35 years. Now, this is from the resume that we received from the mayor. 35 years as an attorney.
No, I'm just saying, because he's not been licensed that long in the state of Michigan.
I'm not saying the state of Michigan, I'm saying 35 years total. As a matter of fact, here, I'll read the specific sentence or two. Mr. Friend, and again, this is from the mayor that we received. Mr. Friend has 35 years of extensive civil and criminal courtroom trial experience. He has worked as a Michigan Assistant State Prosecutor from 2000 to 2006, and with the Massachusetts Attorney General's Office, Department of Social Services, et cetera, et cetera.
Council Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. I did speak to an attorney that I know who is in his same building, and I was not able to speak to him. I would like to be able to meet him. Obviously, this is a major change with Corporation Counsel and the way the city contracts for legal services, just creating a new department. I don't know that this gentleman is a good fit, particularly given all the years of experience our current Corporation Counsel has. We always had a Corporation Counsel and then assistant Corporation Counsels, several as we do now. We have somebody else doing the labor, and we did have an attorney from Seacrest Wardle doing work. Now we have an attorney from Rensselaer Hall, but I think the key is to get our experienced city attorney, at least for now, some assistance in whatever form we deem, and, at least let the new person learn from Corporation Counsel Garamiaki. It's very important for a city our size, the deals involved, like, for example, the golf course and the money it involved and the length of time, that we have a Corporation Counsel that strictly looks out for the interest of the city of Dearborn Heights in an ethical, no conflict manner. So unfortunately for now, I'm going to vote no on this proposed nominee.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Any other comments from council members?
Council Chair,
Councilman Wenzel, go ahead.
was this position posted? Because I had some people look into it and they said they couldn't see it. We'll find out where it was posted at.
This is an appointment, Councilman. So again, we did post it a long time ago. We got a lot of candidates. We went through a lot of them. And we had the first one that we chose, and we all know how that went last meeting, so.
Okay. Now, it seems like his expertise is, I guess, prosecution or defense.
I just stated what his expertise, Councilman. I don't
I'm
know.
just saying, I got a list,
Again?
got a list of all of his. Council Chair,
I just
can
said-
you can let him interrupt me, keep interrupting me?
Okay, no problem, go ahead.
I think we should have, a corporation counsel that's coming from that particular, specifically that background. Instead of someone coming in with these multi-facet backgrounds, and we need someone just to specialize in municipal law in a city our size. I'm just not comfortable with this, and that's why I'm going to vote no.
Council Chair?
Yes, Councilman.
And
Well,
just-
one second, Councilman.
Go
Let's
ahead.
allow the mayor, do you want to answer him? Because he,
No, I already stated his experience. If the councilman wants me to repeat what I said, I will if he wants me to, what his expertise.
okay?
And then I just mentioned that we also need to know what, the police department, the department heads, the judges at the 20th District Court, they're the ones that interact with the Corporation Counsel a lot more than we do.
Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. I would like to point out, and again, just for clarification, it's up to you, council members, which way you vote, but two things I want to point out just to clarify. Anyone, as I mentioned earlier, is at will, so it is at the discretion of the mayor as far as who they select, A. B, I want to point out, there's a lot of corporations throughout the United States, and one that comes to mind is, for example, just as an example, Ford Motor Company, when they hired a CEO, they had, and I can't remember which company he worked for off the top of my head. I don't know if, I can't think of it.
Boeing.
Boeing.
Yeah.
Yes.
He had no experience whatsoever as far as cars are concerned, and then he was able to lead major companies such as Ford. So I'm just saying to keep that in mind, and because it is at will, it is at the discretion of the mayor. If, God forbid, it's not working out, then obviously it is at his discretion at that particular point to maybe move in a different direction. So just keep that in mind when you're voting. Thank you.
Council Chair,
I didn't hear what he said.
it said Council Chair?
Yes.
Okay. This is the backup that we got on it, right there. Everybody see that? It's 3.25 lines.
With due respect, Councilman, that was the email with an attachment with 3 full pages.
And that was sent a week ago, Council Chair,
Yeah.
for everybody to review.
What's the salary of going to be for this position?
It's in the budget, 115.
115.
It's on an hourly basis.
No, Council Chair. it's a
I'm
salary.
sorry, 115,000, I'm sorry, my
I
fault.
work in full-time.
My mistake, my
Yeah,
mistake.
sorry, full-time.
Any other questions? Councilman? We all set?
Yes, I am. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Any other council members have any questions on that? If it's on Zoom, we're not going, they can't comment on agenda items. Okay, so it'd be later on during the public comments if they'd like. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so let's go ahead and take this to a vote. This is item 8A, Corporation Council Appointment and rescission of the initial council motion 22-318 for the appointment of Ms. Nadia Hamadi as Corporation Counsel. Motion made by Councilman Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Muscat. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
Okay, Madam Clerk, can you please take roll call?
Dave Abdallah,
Yes.
Hassan Ahmad,
Yes.
Mo Baidoon,
Yes.
Nancy Breyer,
Yes.
Robert Constant,
No.
Ray Muscat,
Yes.
and Tom Wenzel.
No.
Motion carries 5-2.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
Next item on the agenda is item 8B, Community and Cultural Relations Commission appointment.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council concur with the mayoral appointment of Mr. Kenji Fujita to the Community and Cultural Relations Commission, term to expire March 2024. This appointment is to replace Ms. Heather Nicholson Pester, who recently resigned from the commission as outlined in 8-B.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Baidoon. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair.
Councilman Baidoon, go ahead.
This is a great appointment. I thank the mayor, I thank the CCRC. I know Mr. Fujita is going to do a great job. He's always been involved, even as an active member. I believe when this commission first started, he was attending those meetings via Zoom. So I know that, you know, the direction of who we have right now is absolutely amazing. And I thank the mayor for this appointment. And congratulations to the Cultural Relations Commission, once this is voted on.
Well, I think he was here, wasn't he here?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right, if you don't mind standing up, sir, so at least the council members.
We'll give him a round of applause, Doc.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussions on that? Okay, item 8B, motion by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Baidoon. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carried. Congratulations, sir. Next
Congratulations,
item on the
Kenji.
agenda is item, sorry?
I just tell him, Kenji, congratulations.
Oh, okay. Next item on the agenda is item 8C. This is the Warren Valley Golf Course repair estimate for the certificate of occupancy.
Council Chair,
Councilman Muscat.
I move that City Council receive, note, and file the attached repair estimates of the certificate of occupancy for Warren Valley Golf Course as outlined in 8C.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Muscat, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Is there any discussion on that? Just a quick comment. I'm happy that this thing's not only moving forward, I'm happy that we're able to cap the certificate of occupancy repairs, and thank God it's under 800,000. And I'm happy that this thing is just going in the right direction. So for all the residents, you're going to see continuous changes. As I've driven by a couple times and I see some stuff, a lot of activity happening in the front there. So good job to everyone. All right, so.
Council Chair?
Yes, Councilman.
I believe, if I might be mistaken, but I think the contract was signed, wasn't it?
Correct.
Contract. So this is all go ahead right now, right?
Yeah,
Full-
the
full
contract
speed
was
ahead.
signed conditional upon the certificate of occupancy repairs not exceeding 800,000.
Right,
And it
okay.
came in under 800,000, including, it came in quite a bit under 800,000. And then Mr. Ali Deeb, the city engineer, even included in there a 20% gap just in case, and it was still under 800,000.
Okay. I don't see, oh, there he is. Ali, the director, I know there's a lot of talk about the condition of the bridges, and there's no mention of those in there. Can you give us, they're in perfect shape?
Hello, Councilman. So this, the estimate was limited to items needed for certificate of occupancy. That's not to say your certificate of occupancy items are safety items. So when we inspected the bridges, myself and the director, Watland, they need work, but they're not safety concerns. So everything in this estimate is CFO related. So this is what we need to do to provide the certificate of occupancy so we can safely operate the field. So there will be additional work beyond the basics, but that's not CFO related. If you recall, Councilman, there was $1.7 million worth of repairs to the field. So that's separate. That's not CFO related. These are the items that we need to do and pay for to get the certificate of occupancy.
So a safety issue is not related to certificate of
There
occupancy?
wasn't any safety issues.
Okay,
We looked at the load bearing, we looked at
Okay, all right.
the bridges in terms of like support members and stuff.
So they're good. They're
Myself
good to go.
and the director agree that that's all I need for the certificate of occupancy.
And they could go a season or two without having any work done to them? Bridges?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I
great.
drove,
That's good
I
to hear.
drove the Escape on them. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I drove the Escape.
Okay.
I was 300 acres of walking.
Yeah,
it's a little-
but let's keep in mind, obviously, this is going to be continuous work, continuous maintenance,
Yes.
as with any golf course or any home for that matter, or any commercial property. I mean, the work does not stop. I
Absolutely.
own some property and I'm continuously spending money on them. That's just the way it goes.
So if you don't maintain, you end up in the same position that we're
Right.
in today. So the idea is that now that we're involved in the facilities more so than, we have an operator, we're going to be hands-on. There will be things that we will have to look at to make sure that, we're maintaining it.
Thank you. Council Chair, one other thing is, I know that the city was, I don't want to say liable, but contracted to buy the grass cutting equipment and all the maintenance equipment. And from what I understand, the gentleman from Revive have found equipment that's far below the budgeted amount. So that's a really good thing.
So we are working closely with, looking at Jason, he's not in, but
No, he's not
we
in,
see
sir.
him daily, and Jason is we coordinate, and if we can do things a lot, differently and cheaply. In fact, I believe we looked inside to see if we have equipment that we can use at the golf course, from like DPW, if we're no longer, like the gators and things of that nature, so we don't have to buy them. And so we're looking at every possible way to not reach the 1.7 million.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Council Chair? Council Chair?
Yes, Councilman, go ahead.
Mr. Adib, I know you recommended here a 20% contingency. Do you think that
Yes.
would cover the concerns?
So the reason for that is mainly because we have very few records that were turned over to us from the operator. In fact, even from Wayne County, I've contacted Wayne County. Things like if you're doing the pavement on the cart pass, I don't know if I have utilities out there. I mean, I hate to bust that pavement and find out I have, I know we have utilities. I just don't know where they're at. So you don't want to stop in the middle of construction and then run back to the council. Now I have, I have a $10,000 change order or $50,000. That's what the contingency is for. So we can continue on. But even with the 20%, which is reasonable, and you also keep in mind, today's construction prices are escalating at really crazy rate. So I just want to make sure that we have enough to do the work.
Thank you, Mr.
Council Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify, the basis for your motion is a receive, note, and file, which is to basically make sure that this is part of the record. It's not to approve it, it's not to do anything else. The contract was already executed previously upon Mr. Dibb's estimate coming in. That's all that was necessary in order to achieve that. This is to make sure that there is a clear record for people who would review this in the future. And nothing else. You're not voting on whether or not it's a good estimate or bad estimate.
Right.
You're just voting on making sure that there's something clearly in the city's record.
And per your email at the time, which I think was a great idea, was to make sure that we put it on as receive, note, and file. So
Yes.
good idea. Okay. So any other questions, council members? Okay. So all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carried, or receive, note, and file. Next item on the agenda is item 9A, Brownfield Administrator Roscoe, 2022-2023, Proposed Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Budget.
Council Chair,
Councilman Baydun.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the 2022-2023 proposed Brownfield Redevelopment Authority budget adopted by the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Board on July 13, 2022, as outlined in 9A.
Second.
A motion made by Councilman Baydun, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Is there any discussion on that?
Council Chair,
Yes, Councilman.
could we get Mr. Roscoe to come up and give us a little explanation of what this is?
Sure.
Good evening. Yeah, just to give you a kind of a rundown of what the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority is, for those who may not know. It's the entity that works with the city in helping to, it's basically set up as the go-between between the city and the state to help with redeveloping environmentally contaminated and blighted properties within the city. The proposed development needs to meet certain specifications according to state law, and we work with them and oversee them, the process to receive basically a tax rebate off their taxes for work that's done. Of course, those brownfield plans are brought to you when they do occur. They're brought to the city council and approved by city council, and then a development and reimbursement agreement is set up. And that's what basically kind of dictates the finances. You see under the revenues, the reimbursement accounts, and the expenses, also reimbursement account. Those numbers are set by those agreements that were entered into, and those are annual. It's an annual commitment for the length of the term of the contract for each contract. The revolving fund, there are funds that can be collected depending on the various contracts over the years to go into what's called the revolving fund, which is money that's available to use for incentive for future projects. The revolving fund money can only be used for that, can't be used for anything else. So we have it available in the budget just in case it's necessary. And then the administrative account, there are certain funds, numbers that are brought in based on those contracts that are brought in for administrative expenses. Typically, it's for consultant fees when there's technical things that need to be done. But that's pretty much the complete explanation.
Tom, can you give us like an example of what kind of work is done? Say at the Telegraph Walgreens, what type of work do you do over there?
Okay, like the Telegraph Walgreens, that is the Walgreens on the corner of Telegraph and Van Born. It's from before my time, but what my understanding of it was, I believe, a muffler repair shop. The soil was heavily contaminated, took hundreds of thousands of dollars of cleanup costs and whatnot. So what happens is the developer will pay to remove all the oil out of the ground, everything, bring it up to the acceptable standards, and then there's an agreement that's made that because they built the Walgreens there and brings in a lot more tax money, a portion of that tax money, that increase, then gets paid back to the developer over time. In that case, I believe it was like a 20 to 25 year payback, so to help cover their costs of the cleanup. So they put all the money up front. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good example. It was an A1 transmission place, and Walgreens bought it, and they got the Brownfield credit. It helps finance the project.
Mm-hmm.
I live not too far from there. There was not a lot of contamination, but we have a great use there right on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a very large taxpayer.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of examples of other projects were the Walgreens at Ford and Beach Daily. There was a lot of contamination, oddly enough, from, it wasn't what you would think, it was
There was a bagel shop. I hope that's not.
No, it was attached to Van's restaurant. I think it was a dry cleaners.
Restaurant, a bagel shop.
A wig shop, maybe, yeah, or there was something there that you wouldn't even think it would be a contaminator, but they were, I guess, dumping chemicals out the back door, whatever they were, and.
I know there was a sporting goods store there at one time, Big Bill's.
Oh, it was across. That's
no, Big Bill's is where my Bill's. Right?
Yeah, but that was one. The Tim Hortons at Telegraph and Warren was another project. We just completed the payback on that for that contract. Also, there's the self-storage on Ann Arbor Trail that was completed. So we have several. There's the two current ones there, and then also. One possible in the works. There's some legal things going on with that on their end, but they have reached out to us that they may be coming to us another project too in the near future. So,
good job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Tom, for all your hard work. Any other discussions on this? Seeing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is our Library Director McCaffrey Grant Award.
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the payment for radio marketing related to the LSTA grant to Cena FM Radio in the amount of $1,730. In addition, authorize the mayor and comptroller or the clerk to sign a warrant and the treasurer to issue payment from account 738-738-808.000. This expenditure will be reimbursed at the conclusion of the grant to account 738-000-548.271 as outlined in 9B.
Second. Motion made by Councilman Muscat, seconded by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 9C, Parks and Recreation Director Lawrence L.
Council Chair.
I'm going to give this one to Councilwoman Breyer, please. Councilwoman, go ahead.
I make the motion that the Dearborn Heights City Council accept the Senior Alliance Senior Center Staffing Grant and approve the Senior Alliance Senior Center Staffing Grant contract for fiscal years 2023 through 2025. In addition, authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the contract on behalf of the city as outlined in 9C.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Breyer, seconded by Councilman Constant. Any discussions on that?
Council Chair,
Councilman Muscat, go ahead.
does that mean are we going to be able to hire somebody for the Eaton Center as a coordinator? Can anybody answer that question?
I don't know if, is she on there? Yeah, she's on there. Director Laurentel, here we go. Can you answer that?
Hi, yeah, we have actually hired somebody, as a part-time position. Her name is Josie Hinosa. And I think I did announce that a couple meetings ago.
Right.
But, she's not in this week because she's been off ill. But, so far so good. And she's got a really strong background with a degree in gerontology. So we're very pleased to have her.
Thank you.
Any other discussions on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 9D, Planning Commission, Chairwoman Zamet.
Council Chair,
Councilman Baydoun?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the rezoning of 108 lots on Inkster Road from R1 Single Family Residential and O Office Use to RM Multiple Dwelling Residential District to allow for further development at the location per recommended of the Dearborn Heights Planning Commission as outlined in 9D.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Baydoun, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat, go ahead.
Going through this Planning Commission report from Chairwoman Zamet, I see there's not a very clear yes on this thing, according to what I'm reading here. The very first one has a yes and no. The second one has got not a clear answer. Number 4 is another one. I just think more work needs to be done with this thing before we approve this. I don't know what this is going to entail, what's going to be coming in, going out. Is this going to be a revolving door for troubled people coming into the city? And I got nothing against trouble. We have Vista Maria already in the city.
No, that's not, this is the same one. This is different. This
What
one's
is
for
9D?
Inkster.
This is Waverly, 9.
No.
I'm sorry, 9D.
Sorry about that.
I'm sorry, I'll take everything back.
This is the one for Inkster rezoning.
Council Chair?
Councilman, go ahead.
I think with what we've been approached with today, and I've been trying to get more on this information, and I received some today, I think this should go to a study session. So we can clearly look at this and make sure that everybody involved is getting a fair shake.
Okay. If we're going to go in that direction, then the Councilman Baydoun would have to amend his
Correct,
motion.
but that's just my suggestion.
Sure, no problem. Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
Go ahead.
Actually, what I was going to do, if you don't mind, before we could, actually, go ahead, Corporation Council, and Director Deep, can you come up for a sec, if you don't mind? Thank you.
If I may, one of my concerns, Councilman Muscat referred to 9E, but notice that 9E and 9D are basically similar in the sense of rezoning requests, but there's no analysis with respect to the factors with regard to 9D.
I
And
don't see
there is
anything
with
with
respect
9D.
to 9E.
I don't have any backup like that for 9D. All I got is for 9E.
Right, and that's what my concern is with respect to this. My recommendation would be with respect to 9D, that the matter be referred back to the Planning Commission with them providing recommendations with regard to the 9 points in accordance with Section 36-523C. Again, these are both rezoning decisions, and I would think that it would be appropriate for you to end up having further analysis consistent with what was done, for example, in 9E.
Okay. So just to give some of the council members and members of the audience, I made some calls on this, just to get a little bit of a clarification on this, and just to give you a little historical background. The zoning on this was changed back approximately by the former director, approximately in 2010, okay, from RM to office, approximately 2010. And right now, what we are voting on is to switch it, right now it's office, and that's to switch it to RM, multiple dwelling residential district, which would allow for houses, apartments, and townhouses. Currently, if this passes, if somebody wants to build an office, then they'd have to do some sort of spot zoning and then go back and try to get that particular spot rezoned. So if you could give us, if you don't mind, Director, a general idea for some of the council members as far as your background on this.
Sure. So, first of all, this went through this proposal went through the Planning Commission and all of the hearing and the advertising and the signage and you know, that was done all according to our rules, and it was reviewed and it got approved, and building and engineering were present at the time, and so it was vetted properly. Every concern was listened to. I believe Mr. Haney even sent me my own folder of the information about the soil conditions in the area, and we have that. So it went through the process. The request is consistent with, so our master plan, which was last updated in 2007, is both outdated and, you know, we have many amendments, which is why we are currently going out to redo our master plan, citywide master plan. Having said that, though, this area, it was rezoned back in 2010, and developments were not, we didn't attract any developments. So the request for the rezoning came from Building and Engineering to the Planning Commission. So this wasn't an individual homeowner that requested it. It was the city that requested it. We're the ones requesting it. And we did the advertising and the signage and all that stuff. So we looked at both the engineering part and the possible building on those sites. And just keep in mind, what we're doing today is just rezoning that. So this is, you're not approving an actual construction. Right. It still has to go through the building department for reviews and all of. So we will be looking at all these details. We're just simply asking to rezone it to allow for developments on those sites. It's as simple as
that. And this is, just to clarify for the residents and council members, this is for 108 different lots that start at Hickory, the condo development there, close to Warren Avenue.
Yep. Going
all the way down to Terrell Street, which is about a block and a half, whatever, roughly about a block north of Ford Road by El Amir over there. And then right after that is the apartments, and that's where Terrell is at.
Right.
So it's to redevelop those. Now, one of the advantages of changing zoning, and that's why cities do this, to give you an example, it was not the same type of zoning change, but on Ford Road, if a lot of you guys recall, there's a lot of residential properties that were there. The zoning was changed to commercial, to allow for commercial development, and that's being developed all the way up to Inkster Road. And if you see the type of development that started there from where the Starbucks is at now, going all the way west, and eventually the rest of the homes will be torn down and development will go up there.
Yep.
You know, not only is our city looking nicer, but there's a lot of tax base that's coming into the area.
Sure.
And when I spoke with one of the directors, and it was not Ali Deeb, by the way, not that I wouldn't speak with, I always speak with him about stuff, but the vision is to create a lot more development and obviously bring in not only a better tax base, but not have a lot of vacant properties or vacant lands there, and get something else developed, especially because of the fact that there's hospital right across the street.
Right.
So if this gets rezoned, you're going to see some serious development for types of dwellings that will appeal to residents of that particular hospital.
Yeah, so
or employees.
while I understand the 2010 or 2007 decision to try to attract offices, doctors' office across the street from the hospitals, well, 10, 15 years later, that hasn't happened.
Correct.
So as a result, we as a city, we just lost a lot of revenue. I think it behooves us to try to market our city in such a way,
Now, just to clarify, Mr. Deeb, I know one of the options, I know it's townhouses, which is nice. So for those that are not familiar with townhouses, it'd be somewhat similar look to the ones in West Village on Michigan Avenue, right behind Starbucks there, as an example. But when you say apartments in that zoning, the question I had in my mind is there, and I presume there is there a height cap?
Well, yes. So
how many floors can it be?
30 feet.
30 feet. So it would be no more than
two stories.
2 to 3 stories.
2 stories.
3-story allowed? 2 stories the max? Okay.
Well, depending on if you want to go 12 foot, 15, it's too high, but if you want to make it, but 2 stories, similar to what we're doing on Warren Avenue, across from the golf course.
Correct.
Similar. So it was 2-story and a gable on top.
Excellent.
Council
Any other question? Go ahead, sir.
We have this gentleman here, he's got something in the works for that property, and he doesn't want his property rezoned, okay? And here we are, we're gonna rezone it, and then he's gonna have to jump through hoops again, maybe wait 6 months to a year before he can, by the time you go back to the planning commission, and then they say yes, and then they gotta wait another 3 or 4 months before they have another meeting to approve their their minutes. I think they should go to a study session. We should look at all the properties and say, what should we do as a city? We just don't give somebody a blanket and just say, here, you'll cover the whole thing. That's not fair to people that own property either, that don't want that. And plus, I've seen what happens when you rezone things. All of a sudden, things go up that you don't want to go up. We had this problem right here at Telegraph, where they built supposedly detached condos, and they built a apartment building, okay? So I'm very, afraid of giving blanket zoning to things. It scares me. Without having somebody come in and say, this is exactly what I'm gonna build, and this is exactly, here's the plans. This is just an open blanket for anybody to go in and do things, and I don't like that.
But, and I'll let the Corporation Council talk, but I just want to comment on that just quickly. When you change the zoning, though, as the director mentioned earlier, once you change the zoning, no matter what you change it to, from what to what, when somebody comes in with a proposal, they still got to go through the building department and then get what particular building approved or unapproved. Exactly. This is not approving buildings. This is just saying what would be allowed to be developed there. Corporation Council, go ahead.
Well, with respect to that, Council Chair, though, the difficulty is once it's appropriate under the zoning, then the city has to end up going ahead and approving it in terms of any sort of permits and so forth. But my concern is more of a process-oriented concern with respect to 108 lots along a certain area where, again, we don't have a review or assessment from the Planning Commission with respect to the 9 points. It's just one paragraph that says, our decision is based on trying to encourage new development, generate revenue for the city of Dearborn Heights, and in accordance with the 9 points in section 36-523C, and there's no analysis.
Okay. And I just want to point out, for those in the audience that are not familiar with the 9 points, when a planning commission has anything in front of them that they have to vote on, there are 9 different items that they look at and then answer for themselves before they come back to the city council to do a final vote on that. And I'm not going to go through them all, but that's the 9 points that he's referencing. So, for example, under item 9E, a different property, those 9 items were answered by the planning commission. And on this particular item, I do know it was discussed at the planning commission, but I was there, but I was not there as a councilman. I was there just as a resident at the time. Okay, but thank you.
Council Chair.
Go ahead, Council.
I'm familiar with the property. There is an area in the back there behind some of the development on Inkster Road, and there is standing water. There's even a deer that I think somebody but you see running back there. My son did some rotations at Garden City Hospital, and they do have housing for residents and such. And it is not, right around there, but it is close to the hospital. There are some group homes right across from the hospital. There are more uses closer to Garden City, or, more in line with Garden City Hospital on the Garden City side. I don't know if development over on the Dearborn Heights side would happen or not.
Okay, and I do want to point out that, like, for example, there's a couple of houses that sold fairly recently, and they needed quite extensive work, and I don't want to mention which houses, but they needed quite extensive amount of work, and the people that were purchasing it could not tear them down and put up houses again, even though it was plenty of size enough to be able to put up a house, but they could not because it was zoned off. It's just as a point of reference. Okay,
Council
any other
Chair?
discussion on that? Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
The council chair stated that if it's rezoned, you could always go in for a spot rezoning. But why don't we just leave it like it is, and someone wants to come in, but then they can come to us for spot rezoning instead of changing everything. I was on the planning commission back when this was changed, and it was RM multiple family dwelling at that time, and we weren't getting any takers then. And that's why we changed it over to residential and office. 108 lots, that's big. That's probably one of the biggest rezoning we've ever done in the city of Dearborn Heights. Probably, I don't know, sounds like it. But that being said, the city has a master plan coming up. And something at this magnitude, at this scale, should wait until we figure out what our master plan is for that particular stretch of property there. Thank you.
Okay, and that's an option available to us, but I can tell you this, the master plan is not coming next week or 3 weeks either, so you just got to keep that in mind. Any other discussion on this?
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Corporation Council, but spot zoning itself that's not allowable. It's maybe contract zoning, what you're talking about, but spot zoning is.
Spot zoning is inappropriate, and Councilman Wenzel's point is well taken. In other words, essentially, if you change everything over and then try to make a change thereafter, you may very well be accused of engaging in spot zoning. So, as I've stated, at least with respect to 9D, my recommendation would be to move to refer this matter back over to the Planning Commission for the analysis to be done on all of the 9 points, and that way you can be satisfied that they've thought these things through, rather than making a decision, which, to be frank, it's 108 lots. It is a lot of lots that are being considered. So that's my recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussions on this?
Council Chair.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. And, I listened to the gentleman, Mr. DeMarco, speak today. And, you also have to keep in mind, and, nobody's here to jeopardize a deal for anybody, but, when the council chair says, these are potential condos that are going to resemble to what Michigan Avenue, right there looks like.
The ones directly behind Starbucks.
Yep, directly
side by
behind
side.
Starbucks. So I'm talking about the West Dearborn one. I mean, definitely beautifies the city, in my personal opinion. But I would also say that, all the right steps and procedures need to happen. But I would tell you, I would 100% be for something that's beautifying the city. But I would also agree with Councilman Muscat. What was put up on Telegraph is, it's nothing against the builder, it's just unacceptable. It doesn't represent what the city looks like. I don't think it well sits there. But I think something right in front of the hospitals that would also bring in some more revenue and some more taxes towards the city, I think that's a great idea, my personal opinion. But I would also, if this council and body's okay with it, and you want to take it to either a study session to get a little bit more information, or refer back just so we can get all the 9 points, I'm all for that. At the end of the day, we here, we lean on the experts in the planning commission to make these decisions. And we go based on the recommendations from what we've all been told. So I'm going to go in the direction of this body, and if you guys want me to either refer this back or put this on a study session, I'm all for it.
Council Chair?
Councilman, go ahead.
I do hope we can take the recommendation of the Corp Council and probably refer it back to the Planning Commission so we can have more analysis on it before we make a decision.
Council Chair, we do have a motion on the
No, right, he'd have to.
I know, but I would have to-
He's just making a
Absolutely.
recommendation.
Yeah.
Right.
I believe Nancy.
Okay,
Pryor
any other
made the motion.
discussions on this?
No.
Okay.
I didn't make the
So,
motion.
I just want to
Mo
make
made
sure.
the motion.
Do you want to, yeah, Mo made the motion, but so do you want to vote on that motion, or are you guys interested in taking this to a study session,
I
or go
think-
back to the planning
I
commission?
think legally we have to take a vote on that motion and go back. Am I correct? No.
Oh, he can amend his
Okay,
motion.
You can amend or you can refer. You can refer, again, it's an incidental motion, and it can be done without you necessarily taking action on the motion. It's like tabling something.
Can we refer it back to the planning commission?
Yes.
Or more
you know,
analysis.
But now, but
Specifically with the
my next
instructions.
concern is here, and let's just, address the elephant in the room. We're gonna refer this back to the planning commission. We're gonna wait so long, it's gonna get stuck with the planning commission. We're gonna wait for the minutes to be approved. At this point, where do we stand? And then a potential sale could have been made, then it's gonna potentially jeopardize what could happen here. I mean, let's stop and think about this for a second.
What, if, in regards to this particular sale, based on the way it is right now, they could
He
go.
wants, I know, if he goes back and then
He
sells
wants
it,
it to stay the way it is.
and then it passes all the 9 points, and we go based on the recommendations, we might no longer be able to have that lot there.
I mean, not
And
to
you
give
might
him
have
strategy,
condos.
but if this stays the same, he could, at least, let's just say, not start as in construction, but start the process, based on what he wants done, he can, if it stays the same. Okay, so which motion are you going with?
So if the zoning is approved, he doesn't get his project.
Correct.
You know
Correct.
that, I'm sorry.
Right, but the only thing I want to keep in mind is, with due respect to the gentleman, at least I'm speaking for myself personally, you got to think of the city as a whole, not just one particular property.
Correct.
That's just my personal opinion. Okay, so is your motion to take it to a study session, or do you want to take the corporation council recommendation, take it back to the planning commission? Or keep it the same?
I mean, we have a motion, we can entertain this motion. But let's just say that this motion gets turned down here, Council Chair, or Corporation Council, what would be the next steps?
You can, it still would be in order to bring another motion that's relevant to this matter. Either to refer or to send to a study session.
Would it bring on a second motion to?
The options are, we approve or deny this, that's one option. Option two is, we take this to a study session, and option three is to take this to a planning commission.
I have one last question. Would our building director be on right now?
He said he's gonna try to get on. He had, I spoke with him, I knew he had something going on, but he wasn't sure if he's gonna be able to make it on. I mean, Director Deeb is very familiar with the situation.
Mr. Deeb, can I get your recommendation on this? I mean, and again, I spoke with our building director, and I know this is something that he was in support of.
The short version, Councilman, we support it. We support it as is. The 9 items that the Corp Council discussed were totally discussed in the Planning Commission meetings. We support it.
We don't have them, though.
I didn't write the memo. I mean, it came from the Planning Commission.
And you were at the planning commission,
I was there,
correct? Okay.
absolutely.
So if those, and I'm just giving options here, so if those 9 items were discussed at the planning commission.
Yep.
One of the options available to us as council members, Councilman Beatty, you need to hear this. Okay, if those 9 items were addressed at the at the planning commission, per the corporation council's recommendation, if they're already discussed, one of the other options we've got available to us as a body is to table this thing to the next council meeting. By that point, we'll get the 9 items that were done by the planning commission. We'll be able to look them over and then decide from there, because they were not a part of our packet.
Okay. So basically, you're asking the Ms.
I'm giving an
Zema,
option.
to redo her memo, recommendation memo, to include
The
the
9
discussions
items
that were.
and the answers.
Council
And
Chair?
I don't know why she did that.
That was according to what our Corporation Council said, is to refer it back to them to give us that information, correct?
Yes, and that, and
Right, and what I'm stating is it doesn't necessarily have to go back to them. It's available through the clerk's office, isn't it? They haven't turned it in to you guys yet?
No.
If not? Okay, then they can get it to us.
The other difficulty is I don't know if she was, for example, given authority to end up making that statement on behalf of the Planning Commission. It appears for 9E that she was. So, there was some further discussion with respect to that. So you might delay things just assuming that, but, it is an option as you stated it.
Okay. Me personally, I was going to be voting yes on this, but myself, I think with some of that information lacking, I would like to at least see that information, the 9 points, personally,
So I'll go ahead and refer this back, Council Chair.
provided it's what everybody wants.
I mean, I'm just gonna.
He's making a motion.
I'm gonna amend my motion to refer this back to the planning commission if they adopted the 9 points.
That they provide the discussion or analysis regarding the 9 points
Okay.
in section 36,523C.
Seconded.
Okay.
I second.
So, motion amended by Councilman Baydoun, seconded by Councilman Ahmad, and this is to take it back to the planning commission to provide us with the answers to the 9 points, correct? Just to make sure we're clear on this.
Yes.
Correct.
Council Chair,
Okay,
is there discussion?
yeah, go ahead.
Just quickly, I think there's more issues than just the 9 points here, so let's not just dwell on just, this is for the 9 points, it's other issues. When it comes back before us, we still have these other issues that were related.
Correct. Yeah. We'll just have an opportunity to have a little bit more information to be able to make better decisions.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So again, this is to go back to the 9 points. Motion made by Councilman Baydoun, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 9E, Planning Commission Chairwoman Zamet, application to rezone the proposed address of 5815 Waverly.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the rezoning of the proposed address of 5815 Waverly from R1 Single Family Residential Use to RM Multiple Dwelling Residential District to allow for a foster care building at that location per the recommendation of the Dearborn Heights Planning Commission as outlined in 9-.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Baydoun. Any discussion on
Council
that?
Chair,
Councilman
I'm
Muscat.
going to go back to where I was. 4 of the 9 points are not clear at all. If you read 1, 2, 4, and 8, they're not clear. And we have daycare, but with beds. This is not clear to me of what's going to be happening here. Okay, not at all. This is just very vague, and I don't know what's going to go on there.
Council Chair.
Okay. Let me just, if you don't mind, just, because I did some research.
Turn a light here.
Right. We'll see if we're going to give him an opportunity. So just a couple of points. I did do some research on this and made some calls on this, including to some representative from Eternal Life. This is going to be a nonprofit, under a nonprofit organization. They're going to have foster care for children under 7 and 8 years old, and then put them with families. On the first, that's on the second and third floor. On the first floor will be for seniors, and when they say daycare, it's not daycare for children. It's gonna be for seniors. They're gonna have a little gym in there, they have a little like cafeteria area for seniors, and then they're gonna have daycare, as in like if somebody's dropped, a senior's dropped off there, they'll be watched by this particular facility, and then they'll have a place for them to be able to rest in a daycare area. So it's not daycare as in children's daycare. It's going to be about 4,700 square feet per floor, and then there'll be a basement area. And this is at the corner on Waverly and, what's the side street?
Waverly and then Midway.
Midway, thank you. Right near the Gordon Foods there. Somebody was asking, who's an expert? You are, Councilman Baydoun, go ahead.
Well, no, I know there's a lot of representatives here tonight, and if there's anybody here that just wants to shed a little bit of light on what this has to offer, I know I spoke with a couple, this is here to offer, giving back to children and offering back to some of our seniors. So if Mr. Bazey or any of your
Come on up,
representatives
Mr.
want to
Bazey.
speak.
Good evening.
Good
Good evening.
Well, actually, we're gonna have the third floor and the actually second floor, third floor is it's a foster care for infant, and up to 6 years old. Not to, but the first floor is like if your dad, God forbid, is sick, you drop him off in the morning, you go to work, and then you come back, pick him up in the afternoon, or we can pick him up and bring him back to the house. That's what basically to do, and a daycare for the father.
Adult daycare.
Yes. not daycare, and we're just gonna
Day
watch them
program.
for you till you go to work and come back. Because a lot of people, they having problem with that. They have their father home or their mother home, and then they can't go to work, and then because they need somebody to watch them, so we're gonna be watching them.
How many, maybe just off the top of my head, I'm asking this question. How many individuals at once can you be able to house temporarily throughout the hour or throughout the 24 hours?
You mean for the children?
For the children and the parents?
Children is about 35 beds we're gonna have.
Okay, so
But
35.
we're not trying to keep them. We're gonna have to find somebody from the family to adopt them back to the family. You know what I'm saying? But for the elderly people, probably about 7, 8, 10 of them, whatever it fits in there.
And I do want to point out that the Planning Commission did recommend that the rezoning of the proposed 5815 Waverly be approved. I just want to make sure and point that out.
Yes.
Council Chair?
Go ahead, Councilman.
Now, the children that would be housed there, would they be living there 24 hours a day?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Till we
Well, I-
find a home for them.
Yeah, sure. I've been involved with foster care for several years, and I've never seen a facility that housed adults and children.
We're not gonna house adults. We're
Yeah,
just
but they're
gonna
gonna
have
be
them
there.
in the morning, just the daytime.
Right.
Till you go to work and come back, pick them
Right,
up.
I understand, yeah.
And
That
it's
that situation.
It's like about 7, 8 hours a day, that's it.
I've been a part of probably 50 different foster care
Yeah.
homes and, or situations like this, and I've never seen one where adults are in the same building with children, even though it's on a different floor.
They're gonna be on a different floor,
Yeah.
the foster town.
Council Chair?
Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
Yeah, Mr. Bradley, what people sometimes refer to as a day program. So if somebody has a parent or loved one that has dementia,
Yes.
and they can't, so they drop them off there, go to work, and then they, like Meta Lodges offers that kind of service in some of the different nursing homes. It's it's called the day program for example, dementia patients, correct?
And we're not gonna have like people really in bad shape. Well, at least we could manage because we're gonna have nurses and doctors, to,
But things to keep the
yeah,
seniors
to keep
active,
them,
a little.
yes.
You said you have nurses?
Yeah, we're gonna have nurses coming there to watch him, to help him out.
Council Chair?
And I want to point out also that the current land there is basically grass, gravel. There's nothing there, and nothing's been developed there. And this is behind another commercial building where they currently have Eternal Life.
Yes, Eternal Light.
Light.
Yeah.
Council Chair.
We have a student organization with 17 colleges so far. And then all what we do, try to keep network between the student. And then we have a soup kitchen where we help, the family in needs, the senior, and then the homeless people. We just make the food and take it to them, deliver it to them.
Eternal Light, for those that don't remember, during the pandemic was the organization on Telegraph just north of Ford Road that was doing continuous, it seemed like almost daily, but
Yes.
food drives continuously. And I know the mayor was involved with those. Go ahead, Councilman.
A couple of things. One, that we'd have to make sure that everybody's state certified to take care of kids and elderly people. That's two things. And again, once we rezone this, we rezone the property, we can build another thing.
No, we have plans already.
Well, I understand that, but when you decide if you don't have enough, then somebody else come in and do what they want. So, once you rezone, you rezone. And then that's where the problem exists. And again, I'm going to say 4 of the 9, almost half, are very iffy from the Planning Commission. Okay? If you read that closely, 4 of the 9. I mean, if it was 1, it's one thing, or maybe even 2, but you're talking about 4 out of 9. So that to me brings up a red flag. And that's what I have to say, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council Chair?
Go ahead, Councilman.
First of all, I'd like to say that Sam here is a phenomenal gentleman. And the things he's done for our community, no one knows how much he's done. And he's even helped out the food bank at my church in St. Sebastian. Very, very good. I'm 100% in favor of projects that help out foster-related children and adults. My only concern is having the two mixed together. If you have an adult with a problem, maybe you can cater just to the children, or cater just to the adults. But like I said, I'm 100% for it. 100%. Can't state that enough. Because I've seen the atrocities for kids in foster care, and they need homes very bad. And the adults need care. My mother was in that situation. But I'm not sure, I haven't had enough time to digest this, adults and children in the same building. That's the only thing.
The children, they're going to be on the second or third floor. The adult, they're going to be on the first floor, with separate than the kids. Because really we're in need for that, because they come to me every single day, and then we try to help them out, and
I do also want to point out, I think the Corporation Council can probably attest to this, that obviously anything like this, the presumption is, of course, they go through the city, but obviously presumptively, they also got to go through the state to get the state licenses, so.
That's correct.
So I presume.
we're already in process.
No matter what, and I see your point, but no matter what, the state obviously would have to approve something like this, so it would be at their discretion. But I do see the point you're making.
And if it's through the process, and if the process fails, then we've got an area that's been rezoned, and something else can be built there.
And I respect that, and on the other hand, right now as a city, we have nothing there, and we haven't had nothing there for maybe 80 years or whatever, so there does come a point where look, I'm always gonna be for development, personally, because not only does that bring in taxes into the community, it provides services in the community, beautifies the community by having new buildings. So to me, I'm always going to be pro-business. That's good when we're having things put into our city, providing services for residents that are in need of those services versus residents going out to, 20 miles away to get those services. My parents, for example, when I made some calls and got the idea, I would love something like that for my parents. No, Mom and Dad, I know you guys are still young and everything, but 20, 30 years from now, this is something I think would be wonderful if me and my wife both worked and we needed somebody to be able to help out with our parents. I don't know if I would do that, but I'm just saying, it's an available option versus taking somebody 20 miles away. As far as the foster children are concerned, these are children that are going to be under 7 and 6 and 8 years old, as I understood. They have nobody vying for them. And I know we say in the perfect world that the state is taking care of this and all that. No, they're not. I spoke with the gentleman, he's got tons of calls coming in for him, for foster children, but nobody be able to pick them up, so they stay in state housing.
We deal with the CBS and Adult Protective Service on a daily basis. They send us email to help the family in needs. And then they telling us there's no beds. They're in need for that. And then we're already in process getting all the license and all that. And then we're going to visit couple, the director of the state, of the CBS. We're going with him to visit couple facility and make sure we fit the criteria, the one we do want to fit in there.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other discussions by
Chair,
council members? Go ahead, Councilman.
To be honest, I love the idea. We need stuff like this in the city. At the same time, I do share the concern that Councilman Winslow had that between adults and infants. So no, I hope you have a plan in mind, like to divide the two, maybe separate entrances, make sure.
It's already divided.
Yeah, I was saying if we could do like the separate entrances and exits for like the circulation throughout the building for adults and children,
Sure.
and then we're also working on a rendering for the building. Maybe that'll help
Separate.
yeah, it'll help show you illustrate the idea to you guys and how it's going to be laid out and all that, and I think it'll change your mind on that. So we'll create like a schematic plan where there'll be separate entrances for children and adults at the same time.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I'm going to go ahead and put that to a vote unless a council member has an urgent comment. See none? Okay, so this is item 9E, motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Baidoon. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, Madam Clerk, can you please take roll call?
Dave Abdallah,
Yes.
Hassan Ahmad,
Yes.
Mo Baidoon,
Yes.
Nancy Breyer,
Yes.
Robert Constant,
No.
Ray Muscat,
No.
Tom Wenzel.
I voted no because I've seen children in foster care, and they're looking for an adult to give them something, and they'll do anything. Any person come up showing some affection, and they're taken away by them. And I just can't put myself to putting these foster children in a building with senior citizens or adults that have some kind of issues. So I've got to vote no. I'm sorry. I'm very sad that this is going to go through. Sad,
Okay.
very sad.
Madam Clerk?
Motion carries 4-3.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. Item 9E. Next item on the agenda is item 9F, Police Chief Hart, purchase and payment of traffic device.
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the purchase of one Trimble R4 SLE-GNSS system from Seller Geospital in the amount of $6,003. In addition, authorize the mayor and comptroller or clerk to issue the warrant and the treasurer to issue payment from the police capital outlay account number 101-300-981.000 as outlined in 9F.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Muscat, supported by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is Police Chief Hart, purchase and payment of traffic device.
Council Chair,
Councilman Baydun.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the purchase of one Bosch event data recorder tool from Crash Data Group in the amount of $8,605. In addition, authorize the mayor and comptroller or clerk to issue the warrant and treasurer to issue payment from the police capital outlay account 101-300-981.000 as outlined in 9G.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Baydun and supported by Councilman Constant. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Before we go to the next three items, I'm going to ask our Director Cooper, if you don't mind coming up for a sec. And what I'm going to do, there's three technology items coming up, and some of us are advanced in technology, some of us are second grade level in technology, and some of us just get it done as much as we can. So I had a conversation with our director, and I want, if you could give us at least a synopsis to the audience and to the council members as far as what your vision, because the three are intertwined.
Very much so.
Right. So if you could give us just a general idea, then we'll go ahead and go with them one by one. But if we keep you up there, just in case they had a question on the specific items. So if you give us a synopsis of the three combined and how that will work.
Sure. I have just started my third month here with the city, and I've taken the time to review everything that we have in place. And to be frank, we're outdated. We are. We're doing a disservice to our staff that we have here working in the city and for the citizens to be able to provide them support that we need to provide them. So the managed service provider there is to help bring in a team. It is a big price tag, but that is a price tag for a team. That is not just a single individual, along with the software and support that they'll be able to provide. The managed service provider, VA Networks, will be able to provide the desktop support in a limited basis. That is the plan that I chose, the D plan with them as in the documentation, but also our server support. We do have a few servers throughout the city. What all of it's going to do is along with the support that they provide is also the software. So not only are we bringing in a team of people to help us, a company to help us, but their software alone to be able to go on there where it's going to provide the endpoint protection of viruses, of malware, patch management. A lot of the stuff right now is kind of sporadically in place. This will be able to get it and streamline the whole system to be able to bring in and properly have a ticket tracking system, a asset management system, where if I get a ticket or we get a ticket in place that says that a certain device in 1 month is getting 3 tickets on it, I'll be able to know right away from that and say, hey, maybe that's a device I got to start taking a closer look at and potentially start to plan for that replacement. Along with the asset management of it, along with all of our software, and we can truly make a replacement life cycle of all of our devices. And not just kind of, waiting, hey, we've got some money, let's what are we going to pick to buy there, but truly make that 5-year plan in technology. Work along with that is the Microsoft Office email migration. To be again frank about our email system that we have in place, it is not enterprise level that we need to be for the city, for our firefighters, and for our police. So this Office 365 was purchased. This now migration is to help transfer the emails. We actually had you approved months ago, before I was involved with to bring in a company to do it. I was very excited to see that, but when I reviewed it, there was a key line item there that said, upon full review of the system, because a lot of our emails are actually drawn down from the server and actually now stored on local computers. That will, based on the old contract with the Blue Lake Group, would drastically increase the price, because now that's man hours, of touching each of those computers. And actually, this Blue Lake Group actually have now been not consumed, but joined with BA Networks. So that's kind of where it all started a little bit here.
Third one.
And our defender for Office 365 is to make sure that even though we've got the Office 365 scanning of emails, scanning of attachments, helping do just general email protection, because the Office 365, in its government edition, the defender puts added protection on there for all of us. So you won't get all your spam emails that, a lot of people
from China. Yes, thank you.
And I will say that the email migration and the MS service provider are definitely intertwined together, because of with using BA Networks, the large discount that they give for the email migration takes into account the managed service provider agreement that they would do with it.
Okay. Director, thank you very much, but if you can stay up there, please.
Yep, not a problem.
So now we're going to go ahead and start with item 9H, Technology Director Cooper, BAE Network Agreement.
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the BAE Network Agreement to work as our managed service provider for 3 years. In addition, authorize the mayor and clerk to physically or electronically sign the agreement as may be appropriate on behalf of the city, subject to an addendum to be drafted by Corporation Council. Furthermore, approve the payment of $5,492.50, which is a one-time onboard cost, and a monthly payment of $8,412. Moreover, provide the mayor also authorize any such payments as necessary expense. The city council authorize warrants to be issued, the monthly payments of $8,412, with the total amount of these payments not to exceed $100,944. By doing so, the city council authorizing any such warrant and payment without prior authorization by the city council, the special warrant and payment as permitted by the consent with the city charter section 8.9 as outlined in 9H.
Support.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Muscat, seconded by Councilman Constant. Any discussion on this?
Council Chair.
Councilman Ahmad, go
I
ahead.
have a question for the director. I see here there's 77 computers still have Windows 7.
That's the initial scan of the system. And again, 3 months here doing the scan, handling everything else that I need to handle. It's now we got to physically go check those.
My question is, figure those 77 computers has Windows 7. Are they able to get the new software that you're implementing?
That's what I have to go and look at. And I will say most likely those are just systems that are kind of old computers been stuck in the system, what's called our Active Directory. And it's now just, I'm not deleting them out until I physically know that they're no longer in use.
So they're not in use, okay.
They could be.
They could be.
Yep. I have seen some,
Because
but
I
I've not
see some of
disconnected
these
from my
plans
network.
is per computer or per user. So if they're not in use, then could be adjusted.
Correct. Could go down.
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat?
If we remember when we were going through our budget hearings, a lot of people wonder where the money's coming from. We're saving money because if we would have stayed with Dearborn, Dearborn wanted $1 million to do this job. And there was just no way we were going to pay $1 million to Dearborn. So that, I just wanted to add that in.
And this is a part of the changes when the mayor brought on Director Cooper to handle a lot of our internet services for us specifically. And this is not the changes that he's starting to make. And I had a conversation with the director, and in the plainer version of it, we are like high school level right now. We're taking this thing up to
We're elementary level. We're gonna get to the high school level.
High school
But
and
the goal is to get to corporate and
Yeah.
city level that we
So
need.
basically, we are way behind, and I've heard from different directors in the last few months, including our chief of staff. They had a lot of concerns about what we have, the technology that we have in place. This is a part of the changes that were projected by the.
This is one step. This is one step in the
It's a
big.
start, as you mentioned.
Yes.
Look at our emails.
Yeah, our emails, like for
exactly.
example, you mentioned, I mean, I keep getting in my city council email things from China for some devices and weird crap. Mayor, go ahead.
No, I just, thank you, Council Chair. I wanted to also, I mean, what Councilman Muscat mentioned, $1 million just to be where we're at. So with no changes, just to get the same service that we're getting for the $1 million. Now with this, obviously, as Mr. Cooper mentioned, it's going to excel or propel us much, forward.
And a lot of savings, as the director had mentioned.
Council Chair.
Go ahead.
Mr. Cooper, thank you so much for putting this forward, and congratulations on your 90 days. My question to you is, as you can see here to this body, our biggest concern is what's happening via Zoom.
Yep.
And, I know last week, I think it was Mr. Parrish and it was maybe our police chief were both speaking and they were both getting cut off. And then the council chair has to be the, be the arbitrator there and kind of stop them and say, hold on, repeat. And then we go back and forth, back and forth. In this entire synopsis that you just gave us, where does the Wi-Fi connection via Zoom stand?
Well, it's actually going to be allowing me the time to concentrate on that because our network infrastructure is, again, very outdated. We have equipment where if I tried to go get support from the manufacturer, they wouldn't provide support because it's that old. So it's now in the time and place to review that, to put that plan to get them replaced. As one person for the city, again, Dearborn, for that $1 million, they at least had a team. I'm one person going to provide all that time and support for all of it is, to be frank, unrealistic. So this is, again, that first step to free up the time to be able to concentrate on the big picture of the infrastructure that we
I
have.
know this is a little off topic, but as far as our emails go, have you ever seen the emails? Mo Beidoun at cd.-4.
CI.
I mean, it goes on and on and on and on.
So we actually already have approved from the .gov to change our emails.
Nice.
We're already one step there. It's going to be Dearborn Heights mi.gov. Nice clean email right
Good
there.
job.
Our email will go there. Again, setting up the tenant of Microsoft Office 365. That's where BA Networks will be able to come in. They're going to lighten up a lot of my load to be able to concentrate on some of the things and at the same time potentially provide support in a lot of our network infrastructure that we need to. And I want to say something too, part of that BA Networks Managed Service Provider is on my very first day, I was told that, hey, your firewalls are going to expire in December. Okay, that was, so I've got 6 months. And if you know anything about supply chains right now, good luck getting them in 6 months. We had the potential of losing our firewall, which is our number one defense, okay, to protect our network. Part of the BA agreement is them providing those that they already have, and their number, once they come on, part of the onboarding is coming in and getting those installed in all of our buildings.
Okay. With no further discussion, I'm going to go ahead and take this to a
Council
vote.
Chair?
Oh, go ahead, Councilman.
No. When this position or this department was put before us, I wasn't a real big fan of it because of the cost, but I realized we needed it badly. But at that time, I asked questions about how much this is going to cost, and it was, $115,000. And then I said, well, there's going to be extra costs, and now I'm going to tell you, I told you so. No, here's another $100,000, and I wish there was so much excitement back when we tried to give our workers a 1% raise. We couldn't afford that, We're trying to get everything done in 1 year here. I mean, we're trying to update Dearborn Heights to match every city around us in 1 year, except for our workers. We're trying to get everything done in 1 year. We have to stop the spending. I don't care if it's $100 or $1,000. We're way over our budget already, and we're just 2 months into our year budget. We have to stop the spending and spread this stuff out over. We could get by with what we have. With all due respect to the director here, I mean, we could get by without doing this. I'm against any spending. I mean, we've spent way too much already. This council approved over $2 million budget for a golf course. We gotta stop the spending.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take this thing to a vote. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please take roll call.
Dave Abdallah.
Yes?
Hassan Ahmad.
Yes.
Mo Baidoon.
Yes.
Nancy Breyer.
Yes.
Robert Constant.
Yes.
Ray Muscat.
Yes.
Tom Wenzel.
No.
Motion carries 6-1.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Next item on the agenda is item 9, 9I, Technology Director Cooper, BAE Network Agreement.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad?
I move that Dearborn Heights City Council approve the BAA network agreement to conduct the MS Office 365 email migration at cost not to exceed $14,649 from account 101-258-728.001. In addition, authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the documents on behalf of the city, subject to an addendum to be drafted by Corporation Council. Furthermore, provided the mayor also authorizes any such payment as a necessary expense, the city council authorizes warrants to be issued for the payment of these services. By doing so, the city council is authorizing any such warrant and payment without prior authorization by the city council of the specific warrant and payment as permitted by and consistent with city charter section 8.9 as outlined in 9-1.
Second. Okay, motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Baidoon. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please.
Dave Abdallah.
Yes?
Hassan Ahmad.
Yes.
Mo Baidoon.
Yes.
Nancy Breyer.
Yes.
Robert Constant.
Yes.
Ray Muscat.
Yes.
And Tom Wenzel.
No.
Motion carries 6-1.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
Next item on the agenda is item 9J, Technology Director Cooper, SHI Software Agreement.
Council Chair,
Councilwoman Breyer?
I'd like to make a motion that the City of Dearborn Heights City Council approve the SHI software agreement to provide Defender for Office 365 for 3 years at an amount not to exceed $12.48 per user per year, to be taken from account 101-258-728.001. In addition, authorize the mayor and clerk to physically or electronically sign the agreement as may be appropriate on behalf of the city, subject to an addendum be drafted by Corporation Council. Furthermore, provided the mayor also authorizes any such payment as a necessary expense. City Council authorizes warrants to be issued for the annual payments with the total amount of these payments not to exceed $5,616. By doing so, the City Council is authorizing any such warrant and payment without prior authorization by the City Council of the specific warrant and payment as permitted by and consistent with City Charter, Section 8.9, as outlined in 9J.
Support. Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilwoman Breyer, seconded by Councilman Muscat. First of all, any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please.
Dave Abdallah.
Yes?
Hassan Ahmad.
Yes.
Mo Baidoon.
Yes.
Nancy Breyer.
Yes.
Robert Constant.
Yes.
Ray Muscat.
Yes.
Tom Wenzel.
No.
Motion carries 6-1.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
You're
Next item on the agenda is item 9K, CEDD Director Jamal, 2022-2023 CDBG Action Plan.
Council Chair.
All right, let's do this again. Action Plan.
Council Chair.
Councilman Baidoon.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the fiscal year 2022-2023 CDBG Action Plan AP, amended allocation table, and authorize the CEDD Director Jamal to resubmit the fiscal year 2022-2023 CDBG Action Plan AP accordingly to the HUD on or before September 1st, 2022, as outlined in 9K.
Support. Or second.
Motion made by Councilman Bedun, seconded by Councilman Muscat. Is there any discussion on that?
Council Chair,
Councilman Wenzel?
is the director Jamal?
Yeah, he's on. He's on Zoom. Would you like to ask him a question?
Yeah. Can you give us I was reading it over. Can you give us like a 1-minute synopsis of this?
Okay, Director Jamal, can you, and this was an item that the director had, first of all, did a lot of work to bring this forward, and he had to put this on kind of a little bit late in the game to be able to bring in some good funds into our, our city. So I thank Director Jamal for a job well done. But go ahead, Jamal, can you give him, Director, I'm sorry, can you give him a synopsis of this, please?
Sure. Usually when we apply, submit, or action plan, we have help review, then comment. Sometimes they need additional detailed information regarding support documentation in line with rules and regulations. This particular item came up. It needs a lot of documentation, a lot of controller, financial, operational clarification. We don't have time for it. They were very kind to give us until September 1st. That's why we choose to allocate the other fund, the proposed funding to another very important program we provide to our seniors. The seniors in Dearborn Heights are over 40%, disabled almost 28%. So we do have a lot of expenditures that we can spend on seniors that benefit those particular group, which we consider as, by group, limited clientele eligible for HUD funding. If it was another program being questioned, we do the same thing. It's not in particular that particular program. Why HUD choose a program to be reviewed? I have no idea. They do what they do, similar to what I do when I do review internally our programs. It could be done based on sampling, it could be done based on criteria that we see. The program could be approved for several years in the past, and it happens that they picked up for deeper review or the internal, regulatory or focusing of the Congress, focusing on certain areas. That's the bottom line. So,
Okay,
thank you. Approve it and move on. We can review, bring back, resubmit, amend if we want. In the future, I hope I made it clear.
Okay.
It's not pick it up on any program or anything. It's just normal process. When you are asking for $1.7 million enough, can I hand it to you? Okay, go ahead and spend the way you like. They do a lot of monitoring, a lot of review. And if any of the council members like to come and see what kind of process we go through, you are welcome anytime. And you probably want to stay as long as I wanted to stay in my
Okay.
Thank you, Director
Thank you
Jamal.
very much, Director. Any other comments on this? Hearing none, motion made, just to repeat, by Councilman Bedun, seconded by Councilman Muscat. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Director Jamal, thank you for continuing to work on these types of items for the city. Next item on the agenda is item 11A. Mayor Bazey, first reading of proposed ordinance H-22-04.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council move the proposed ordinance number H-22-04, an ordinance of the City of Dearborn Heights establishing a Watersheds Commission to replace the existing Watershed Stewards Commission and the existing Ecorse Creek Commission, providing for its composition, terms, and administrative support, defining its purpose, duties, and responsibilities, and regulating its meetings, be considered read for the first time as outlined in 11-A.
Support. Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Baidoon. Any discussions on it?
Council Chair?
Councilman Wenzel, go ahead.
Thank you. Kurt Whitmore, he stated a lot of really good points. I hope everybody was listening to some of the things he was saying. But the one that sticks out to me the most is, I talked to most of the commissioners on the Watershed Steward Commission and Ecorse Creek Commission, and none of them were asked for their input on the situation, combining the two. Not that anyone admitted to me. There was no, it was done without any kind of, getting together and talking about it. The thing that bothers me the most and burns me the most is, a few weeks ago, we acknowledged our Watershed Steward honorary student commissioners from the National Honor Society. And these students have put their hearts and souls into their projects with pride. They've put in more hours in these type of projects and these type of community services than all the members of the Watershed Steward Commission and Ecorse Creek Commission combined. Not even close, the amount of hours these kids have put into for the city. And not only were they completely left out of this ordinance, they weren't even mentioned at all. It was a total disrespect for these kids. These are part of our city. They're the backbone of many projects we have in the city that the Watershed Stewards do, and we could not do it without them. And for them to be completely left out of this ordinance, this shouldn't even be read at all. And it's a shame that we spent money writing this ordinance without having the proper people talk to and get their input on this. It was a waste of money to write this ordinance.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Go ahead. Let's go with Councilman Muscat, then Councilman Constant.
I don't see what the reason behind all of this is. I mean, we do have a Watershed Commission, a Ecorse Creek Commission. Why are we gonna to me, it's like disbanding them and giving it to somebody else. I don't know if these people are going to be able to handle all their responsibilities they have now, so.
The biggest purpose from the mayor, with my conversation with him, you want to answer it? Go ahead.
So what the fully staffed commission right now is the Ecorse Creek Commission. The Watershed Commission currently only has maybe 3, maybe 4 members, and most of them already expired. So, and also they don't meet like they're supposed to be meeting. There's no minutes. I haven't seen anything. There's no documentation as when they meet. And one of the biggest picture, again, we don't want to keep thinking small in the city. We got to try to combine the city as one city. So we have 2 watersheds right now currently. We have to try to combine it, so have one commission is in charge of both, or is involved with both commissions. And somebody made a comment that they raise like a few $100s a year, for one commission, for the watershed. What we're trying to do here, we're thinking big. So I was part of a conference that was actually in Canada with about 150 mayors. There was EPA involved in it. We had congressional, we have parliamentarians from Canada, and they're from the water, it's called St. Lawrence and Great Lakes Water Conference. There's millions of dollars that we can actually grab for the watershed, through these, this entity. In fact, there's a meeting in another week and a half that I'm going to be part of on Zoom, how to get some of these grants. And right now, there's nothing, we haven't seen anything, come from the watershed, just few $100, maybe $1,000, somebody mentioned $2,000. We can be talking about maybe millions of dollars that we can get grants, for those watersheds. We had a meeting a few days ago, talking about the Rouge River, try to clear it. And there's another initiative with the county, they're talking millions of dollars in the Ecorse Creek. So the recommendation, environmental friendly, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get one voice of Dearborn Heights instead of several people or several different individuals, they have self-interest and whatever. I'm trying to get one commission that cares about the whole entire city instead of one portion or this or that. So this is my objective, trying to get one commission that is in charge of both watersheds that we can actually go to, whatever issues and concerns, can have one voice for Dearborn Heights, not several. And I know Mr. Deeb, he's been working with the different watersheds, actually from the state, from Eagle, and also from EPA. And that's one of the things that was recommended, that, that it's a joke to have all these different, groups that, or the two different commissions that nothing's really, or the watersheds, nothing's being done. Others just go take care of a rain garden, but not actually concentrating what the watershed's supposed to be doing. And I'm sorry, and the other item.
That's a joke.
We missed.
That's a joke.
We missed.
Councilman.
Nice.
Excuse me.
Nice joke, Mayor.
Okay, well, we have to care about the entire city instead of just one little portion of the city. We have to care about the entire
Have you
city.
ever been to Washington?
And also,
He's never been to a meeting.
I know.
Never.
Councilman,
Never one
Councilman, let him finish. You'll have your opportunity to speak. Go ahead.
before I was rudely interrupted, also, we missed to put the students on there. Our intentions to put the students on there, so we will add that to the next reading.
Okay. Councilman Constant.
Thank you, Council Chair. And briefly, so the Watershed Stewards was formed. Kurt Heise, who was then Mayor Ruth Canfield's assistant, formed the commission. I was one of the original members to, we get extra money. It goes into a report for what's called the SWEPI, and we get extra grant money and so forth. And the Watershed Stewards is for watershed management. We introduced the ordinance to no illicit connections going straight into, like, for example, the Ecorse Creek or the Rouge River. It does cover the whole city. I do remember talking with my friend Hassan Shamal when they formed the Ecorse Creek Commission, and they've had meetings and gotten a lot of information. My idea would be to possibly expand the Watershed Stewards Commission. There are people that want to join. Like any commission over time, it gets larger and smaller. Our director, who's not going to be able to do it next year, Barb Gorka, has done just a great job, especially with Mrs. Johns from Crestwood High School and with the honor students. So my thought would be to just expand and reinvigorate the Watershed Stewards.
Okay, thank you. Director, you had something you want to say?
Yes, so basically, in addition to what the mayor indicated, so one of the challenges that I've faced, at least I haven't worked with the watershed commissions, but I have worked with Ecorse Creek Commission extensively because of the work that I've done with the Ecorse Creek cleanup. But one of the challenges that I face is that every time I talk to an agency, in fact, this afternoon, we had an extensive 2.5 hours with Wayne County on the Rouge Valley watershed. One of the challenges that they keep telling me is that where is your vision as a city? As you have two watersheds. You're in the middle of two watersheds. So we keep hearing about our work is fragmented. What we need to do is present our case. Not to just the county, but we have contacts with the state, and as the mayor indicated, we also have some with the Canadians. They wanted to see a vision. What is it that you're trying to do for your city so they can support you? But look at it holistically, the whole thing. You need to have a unified vision, not just fragmented and say I'm taking care of this area, that area. We have two watersheds. They're distinct. We are facing challenges. They're different, but they are challenges. And I do support the fact that you'll have one entity that is looking at the big picture, and I'll be able to support it.
And ultimately is to bring in more grants and,
absolutely.
and to continue to focus on the city as a
If
whole.
nothing else, is to present your case. So the grants, like today's meeting, was to try to make our case on the north side to have the county use some of their money to address our issues because we are part of
Council
Okay.
Chair.
Thank you. Just 1 second. Any other council members? Because you're right.
I want to try to keep this to the minimum as
Sure.
far as how many times we, go ahead.
Well, with all due respect, I mean, we've done all that. We had, at one time, 2 Ford engineers, one from the north and one from the south. And the Watershed Stewards Commission and Watershed Management, I mean, that's provided for, they're all over the country in federal law. And as far as a overall vision, I mean, we have that, we've done that. Kurt Heisey went on to become the director of the Department of the Environment for Wayne County, and the Watershed Stewards does cover the entire city.
Okay. Councilwoman Breyer, you had a statement?
I definitely see a need to combine both the north and the south watersheds. It's one city.
Right.
And it will afford us the ability to have more grants available. Now, I really do think, though, however, that we should have some input from the people on both commissions. And if we go forward, we have to extend the number of members to incorporate all of this if we go forward with just one.
Okay, thank you. Any other council members have any comments on this?
Council Chair?
Go ahead, Councilman.
I think the councilwoman, I don't know, I don't think we have a north and south watershed steward, commission. Yeah, we just have one. But, what's keeping what's keeping the Watershed Steward Commission from getting grants right now?
I don't know. I don't know their schedule, but I can tell you from personal experience, when we met, like for instance with SEMCOG, the first reaction was that we didn't know you guys are having any issues. That was their, so I don't know what was done in the past, but I mean, I can tell you the meeting with the dates. I'm just saying what my experience was. I don't know what happened in the past. I'm trying to approach it differently. I'm trying to make our case to people that can assist, and I don't care who they are at this point, but we need to make a case, and that case needs to be presented as a city. I mean, it's a full, you know.
Okay. Well, just for everyone's information, Director Jamal has given me contact information for several grants that I followed up on, and they're hard to get, very, very hard to get. I mean, it's not like we haven't been trying, and we have been trying, and the fact that a mockery was made of the Watershed Steward Commission making a couple $100 a year. How many other commissions make a profit? I mean, even if it's $100, we make a profit every year. And to call the Watershed Steward Commission, commissioners and the students, a joke is very uncalled for and should deserve an apology from the mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman.
I just wanted to add one more thing. Part of a master plan that we're looking for, and part of being realistic in what we're trying to do, we're looking at our. I think I mentioned it once before. We're seriously looking at our standards because we don't have the ability or the budget to replace our infrastructure. We're looking at baby steps to try to incorporate green infrastructure similar to few communities that have adopted it to try to mitigate some of our issues. The finger catch basins that we're looking at. We're looking at things that we can incorporate. They're low-hanging fruit that will help the big picture. But these things don't happen overnight. We need to have a vision. We need to have a plan in place, and all of our departments need to be included. So whether it be building engineering, for new construction, so we can start minimizing we're taxing our system. Our systems are, storm sanitary. Every infrastructure we have is taxed, and we keep encouraging development. But development comes with a price. We have to look at this, the effect, and try to mitigate what we have.
Okay, thank you.
For example, when we did the Richard A. Young Center, was the Watershed Stewards that helped get the poorest parking lot. And,
I agree.
We have ordinances that Kurt Heisey helped write and I write to have.
Yeah, this is not against their work.
Stormwater management.
Sure.
Like when the North End Shopping Center, the Heights Mall was developed. So that's all part of the Watershed Stewards and what we do. And if the city gets grant money, it's the city. Neither the Watershed Stewards nor the Ecorse Creek Commission are a separate nonprofit.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go ahead and take this to a vote.
Council Chair, can
Okay,
Can I-
sound quick, because I think
Yeah,
we
could I
discussed
ask
it
the
enough.
person who made the motion to table this and have it rewritten for a first reading, because this first reading is nothing that anybody can approve.
Councilman Ahmad, if you want to amend it, he's asking if you want to amend your
So
motion.
Amendment to which way?
to include the students and all the different things.
Council Chair,
Can I include the students now?
One
In
second,
it?
I'm sorry?
Can I include the
You'd
students?
have to amend it, but
Can I include the students?
Council Chair.
Mayor, go ahead.
We've had ordinances that we actually had addition, so whatever recommendations made, we can make it for the second reading. It's been done for the last few years.
Correct. Okay, Corporation Council?
Yeah, you could approve it as read for the first time and direct the administration or corporation council
Make the amendment.
to add in whatever it is that you want added. The student members were taken out because they weren't included as part of the Ecorse Creek Commission. And there are certain things under the charter that make student members a little awkward in certain ways as full members. People who are members of commissions are technically supposed to be electors of the city. And some of them are not old enough to be able to be electors of the city. So that has to end up being handled carefully. But
Okay. So you understand what he's
I
referencing?
confused them.
Uh-huh. So all he's saying is, because remember, this is a first reading, so it'll be, of course, a second reading. During this second reading, administration, for our guidance, or sometimes they select on their own to make adjustments to that. The adjustment is to add the students on there, obviously to recognize them for all the great work that they do. What the Corporation Council is referencing is they have to be technically old enough to be able to vote in order to be on that. And some of them were not of that age. So he's just saying it's got to be written in a proper way that would address that.
Right, we have to kind of basically not make them full commissioners, and I don't believe that they are with the watersheds, because I know I've tweaked that in the past.
Right.
I mean, we could do that, so if you want to end up having that approach, you could make a motion to approve for first reading and further direct the administration to amend the proposed ordinance, or to edit the proposed ordinance to provide for honorary members who are students.
And at that particular point, administration would go through Corporation Council to make sure it's got the right legalese. Okay.
Council Chair, there's other issues also. There's a matter of, throughout the years, we've, our Ecorse Creek cleanup and rain garden maintenance, we provide shirts and meals for the participants, and it costs us money. And each year, we raise, $1,500–1,700, and we pay for all the costs of shirts and the food and everything through sponsors. And we've got over $2,000 in our account. But what I'd like to see is something like, I know there's some Watershed Steward commissioners that would probably, if this happened, but they would say, well, they're not going to be part of it. What I'd like to see is maybe a Watershed Steward Commission stating all these things that were in this ordinance, and forming another commission, the Rain Garden Commission, and just keep that budget in the Rain Garden Commission, keep those people, they're on that commission, the officers, keep them on the Rain Garden, because it's their passion, and it's the students' passion also. The Richard A., like it was mentioned by Councilman Constant, that Richard A. Young Center, where these rain gardens are, and if you haven't seen them, they're very tremendous. They also have one of the few parking lots in the state of Michigan that they don't have any drains in the parking lot. The water goes right through the parking lot and soaks into the ground instead of going into the storm drains, causing flooding.
Okay.
And these rain gardens are used for that too, to reduce flooding. So I'd like to see something like that in there, having a separate commission for the rain gardens.
Okay, and if that's something that.
That's money's in there.
The council would like to amend his motion?
I think this is, I don't know, for a separate, this is totally different. I see it as a,
And we can have maybe that discussion
Maybe
at
it's
the
a
second reading, unless you want to change your motion.
no. I will
Okay.
keep it.
So let's go ahead and vote on the yes, go ahead, Corporation Council.
Okay, if so inclined, the council could also approve it for a first reading and refer it to a study session to bring in all these ideas and maybe get input from the people who are on those commissions. And then the council might be able to make a decision thereafter.
But why don't we just add whatever's on? I thought we were gonna add, combine the two.
I'll do whatever anyone tells me
I
to
thought
do.
we were gonna add
That's,
both.
you know.
So you want to go ahead, are you amending your motion or you keep it the same as per
I mean, if you're
Corporation
okay to take a
Council?
study session, if the body, are you okay to take a study session? Yeah, I can amend it to take a study session, to hear from all the commissioners.
There's only 3 right now. There's 3 on the watershed. Or how many, 3 or 4?
5?
4.
5 for me?
There's 4, not counting the 2 student members.
Well, no, I'm talking about that now,
Yeah,
as
voting.
is elected or appointed, not students. They can't vote.
Chris
Okay.
Sullivan is trying to.
Or you put it to a vote, if it gets turned down, then you do a new motion to a study session, if that's what you want.
Okay, we could do that.
Okay, so which,
Let's put it to a vote
Can
first.
he speak? He's got some information.
okay, I'm ready to go ahead and put it to a vote. If you got something in 30 seconds, come on up. Can you say it quickly?
I'd just like to say that the Watershed Stewards Commission was neglected by our past mayor. It was just let to fall into basically disrepair. And if it wasn't for our one member, Barb Gareca, who's held it all together, we wouldn't have it today. But I've spent, since returning to the commission, the last 4 or 5 months trying to cut through all of the piles of papers, debris, and everything that relates to it, including studying the ordinances.
Okay.
And we've been working on it. We've been holding regular meetings. And we do have agendas and minutes.
Okay,
So-
thank you, sir.
I think it's another good reason just to join forces. I'll just put it for the vote.
Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and put it with a vote, to a vote, I just wanna make sure we're
As a
clear
first
on-
read, yeah.
You wanna repeat your amendment,
No, just keep it the way it is as a first read.
exactly the way it is,
The way it
without
is.
any changes?
Without any
Okay.
changes.
All right, so motion by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Baydoun. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please.
Dave Abdallah,
Yes.
Hassan Ahmad,
Yes.
Mo Baidoon,
No.
Nancy Breyer,
No.
Robert Constant,
No.
Ray Muscat,
No.
and Tom Wenzel.
No.
Motion fails. 2
Council Chair?
yeses, 5 noes.
I'm sorry?
2 yeses, 5 noes.
Okay, thank you. Council Chair, go ahead, Councilman.
I don't know if this is possible to make a motion now, but I would make a motion that we take this further and set up a study session on this, because this is very,
Council
very-
Chair, I got a better choice. I'll just make the same commissioner both on the next one. I'll go ahead and do that at the next meeting. So if you guys want to keep them both, I need to put both commissioners on both, so we can have one voice. I'll put that on.
I'm
next
sure,
agenda.
I'm not sure, so what do you mean by both commissioners? on both?
So we need to have one commission, like, as I
So
mentioned.
you're gonna put the same commissioner
So
in
both
charge of both of them?
Yes, exactly.
By one person?
By one, yeah,
Okay.
one person. So like we do have on Tifa and,
Can we take this over to a
Brownfield.
study
so you're
session?
gonna have, no need. I can just go ahead and do that. My appointments, I'll go ahead and do that as one both commissions will have the same commissioners.
Either way, though, even with that, it'll still come back to City Council for approval. Okay, so next item on the
Council Chair, I
agenda.
got a question for you. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
Can you schedule it for a study session?
No need. There's no need, Councilman. Like I said,
When it comes back, we can talk about it.
Yeah, when it comes back, you put it to a study session. Because this one got turned down.
I understand it, but it was turned down because it was potentially going to a study session.
No.
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 Council
This
Chair?
motion was not a study, just
I
one
understand it,
second.
but we denied it. Well, My vote.
Right,
was-
so now, okay, watch, it was denied. If someone wants to take it to a study session, but then again, remember, this is the first reading, it died.
Failed.
I mean,
Failed.
I understand
nobody's
that, Council Chair. The
interest.
conversation we had right now, please, I'm asking, like many council members here have in the past said, can we have a study session on it?
I asked, but nobody showed interest.
I did.
Council Chair, since it failed, as I mentioned, I can just put another motion at the next meeting or something else.
Okay, Corporation Council, any advice on this?
No,
Or options available to council members?
I mean, all I can lay out is the options. The mayor has told you how he intends to proceed. The council's body can take the suggestion of the mayor with regard to that, or the council's body could say, We want to have a study session with it, and then if that's indeed what you'd want to do, you could end up bringing a motion to refer the matter to a study session and go from there.
So a new motion would have to be made for a study session, correct?
That is correct, and it would
And
be
then
in
at that
order.
point,
at this
probably
time.
after, depends on when that study session would happen, mayor can still bring in based on his proposal forward to the council before or
Can't the
after.
council chair have set a study session at any time?
You can, Council Chair, again, you guys, okay, again, I'm gonna put a motion at the next meeting, so you guys can do whatever study session you want, but the next meeting, I'm gonna put new commissioners.
Yeah, there.
For both of them will have the same commissioners. Again, as I stated, I'm looking at the big picture for the entire city. I'm not looking at, few $100 or 2,000 or 10,000, whatever. I'm looking for millions of dollars for the watershed. And we, as the director mentioned, we've been having several meetings that you guys are not part of. We're looking at the big pictures, trying to get grants, not like, oh, I tried this grant, it didn't work. One of the things that council chair mentioned, trying to get a grant writer or grant manager. So we're looking for a lot of grants. In the past 20, 30 years, the city paid out of their own pocket to do everything. Just even the lead pipes, we could have gotten grants, we could have gotten millions of dollars to update the lead pipes, water pipes. However, we paid for it out of our city budget. So this is something I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna try to first pursue a grant before we spend the city taxpayers' money. And anybody's against it, maybe they shouldn't be on the council. We're trying to minimize the taxpayers' money being spent if you can't get a grant. And right now, that's what I'm trying to do, is trying to get grant money for everything we do.
It's a point well taken, I'm just saying we could do both.
So again, we gotta keep
But
both
again, it'll always
commissions.
be an option
So we can have
available at
one
any point.
voice.
I'm sorry?
Again, we're gonna have two commissions, one voice. We can do that. I'll put it on the agenda at the next meeting.
Okay. Anybody else interested in having a study session on this? To me, the way I'm looking at it, whatever the mayor brings forward, at that particular point, we could either vote on it, yes or no, or we can, at that point, if we're not comfortable, vote to take it to our study session, or you could do a study session right now. I'm just trying to get a vibe. How do you guys want to do
I'm
it?
asking you a question. Instead of me having another thing put on there, and this, what the mayor's offering us millions of dollars, right? There could be a study session that's put forward where now we're being informed instead of making a vote on something that just died because nobody here was informed enough. So when I voted no on this, I'm under the impression that I'm gonna vote no, and you know what? We're gonna open this up to a study session, we're gonna get information, and then we're gonna make a vote.
Okay.
That's all that really, that this
All right.
happened here.
Without taking this to a vote, obviously, who here has, just at least I just want to get an idea, who here has an interest in the study session?
I do. Well, go ahead, Counselor, but
Okay, well, let's start with that. Anybody else have an interest in the study session?
I'm
Councilwoman, anybody else interested in study session? Okay, we could try and schedule a study session, but again, the mayor can also bring that forward also.
And
And this will be the last two comments, please.
like
We can wrap it up.
to possibly talk with the mayor further and city engineer Dibbs about the role of the watershed stewards, because it is correct, like a lot of commissions, it's several of the members passed away, and it just has fallen by the wayside. So we might be able to do, we do need one organization, and we do need to combine our efforts. I agree with the mayor.
Okay.
We just voted no, though.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and see if we can do a study session, and the mayor will continue with whatever he's doing. Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda, we're gonna go to item 11, if I'm not mistaken, correct? 11B. Item 11B, City Clerk Senior, resolution for a Class C liquor license for Happy Wealthy 168 LLC at 5680 North Telegraph.
Council Chair.
Councilman Constant?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the resolution for the quota Class C liquor license at 5680 North Telegraph for Happy Wealthy 168 LLC, subject to review by Corporation Council. In addition, update the business license after the Liquor Control Commission has approved the liquor license, and it has been received in the clerk's office as outlined in 11B.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Constant, seconded by Councilman Muscat. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair,
Councilman, go ahead.
is this an existing business or?
It's a restaurant close in the Safe Shopping Center is Gordon Foods, about 3 doors south.
Used to be the old Rose Garden.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Next to the gun shop.
So what was Rose Garden? They're going to have another business and they're going to have a liquor one.
They have been in business for 2 years. They are on Zoom if anybody would like to ask them any questions.
Okay.
Okay? Do you want me to unmute them?
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay.
And I drove by it just to check it out in general, so, yeah, it is an open business. Okay. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 13A,
Council
business
Chair?
license renewal. Go ahead, Councilman.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council renew the business license for X Drive Auto Sales located at 6528 North Telegraph as outlined in 13-A.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Muscat. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair,
Councilman Wenzel, go ahead.
is our ordinance director or representative on Zoom or here?
I don't know if the ordinance director, I've not personally.
He is not on
No,
Zoom.
he's off.
Yeah, he's on vacation, he's out of,
Okay.
yeah, he's not available. So we'd have to ask the mayor if you have a.
What I was wondering is if there was any issues with this business as far as, violations.
Oh, as far as ordinances?
Violations.
Everything
don't
that
know
we
about
received
ordinances.
was what was checked by the clerk, and she said.
We checked the water and the delinquent personal property taxes, and they're good on that.
I saw it through the packet. Everything was up to date.
Yes. I'm not sure about ordinance.
No violations.
Okay.
I don't even know them, but good.
Okay. Any other questions from council members? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Dave Abdallah?
Yes.
Hassan Ahmad?
Yes.
Mo Baidoon?
Yes.
Nancy Breyer?
Yes.
Robert Constant?
Yes.
Ray Muscat?
Yes.
Tom Wenzel?
No.
Motion carries 6-1.
Okay, thank you very much, congratulations. And next item on the agenda is item 14, which is members of the public. We're gonna go ahead and start with comments from council members.
Sure.
Councilman Baidoon.
Thank you so much. I know I'm usually not as brief, but I'll be quite brief today. First and foremost, I hope everybody has a great Labor Day weekend. We are going to be celebrating my son's 1-year-old birthday on September 4th. It's been crazy. It's been an amazing year. He's been an amazing addition to my family. My son Ali has kept us up for 300 days, 340 days thus far, every single night. He has not slept the entire night one time. And I'm blessed for that. You know, if that's my struggle in life, I thank God for it every day. My second thing here is I want to congratulate the new deputy executive under 1C7, my good friend Asad Turfi. And then I also want to congratulate my good friend Abid Ayoub, who has now became the new national executive director for the Anti-Discrimination Committee. These are two huge role models to myself and, very prominent to this community. And I just want to give them a little bit of recognition, and thank you so much.
Okay, congratulations to the both.
Council Chair?
Councilman Muscat, go ahead.
In the past, I've spoken about how things are explained to residents on their tax bills or their water bills. I received a whole mess of calls today about water bills and the amount of what the water bills are. Mine was extremely high, but I knew I watered my lawn, so I expected a high water bill. I guess what it is people call, they really don't know what they're paying for on their water bill. They just think they're paying for water and sewage and that's it. People need to know what they're paying for. They're paying for the maintenance of the water system. They're paying for, when there's a water main break out there, they're, paying for the people that are in that department that take care of water issues. They're paying for street sweepers, and when I tell them that, they go crazy because they say they never see a street sweeper, but that's not, here or there. And so people really need to know what they're paying for. The city pays, money for, the water treatment plant that people don't know. I mean, this is a very expensive product, water. You just don't open a tap and it comes out of the Detroit River or Lake Huron. It's got to go through a process. And then when you send the water back, it goes through even a larger process. So, I know the bills are high, mine is high, and I don't know what to do about it other than educate the people on what they're paying for, because again, you open up your bill and you see $400, $500, $600. How can that be? Well, they're only looking at water and sewage and not everything else. So that's one comment. The other comment is, again, we're having another big influx of the left-hand turns at the Starbucks at John Daly and Ford Road. Got people turning left out of there, blocking traffic from turning right or southbound onto John Daly. People that are traveling north on John Daly wanting to go either left or right on east or west on Ford Road have trouble with these people. They just they don't care about those signs. Those signs are as clear as day. They just don't care. And when you toot the horn, they give you the finger like you're the one that's bad. And it's very frustrating. We need to do something.
That's already been addressed by our director, Dib. I spoke with them. There was 168 tickets given there in that section. Obviously, the tickets are not enough to get it fixed. He's got a permanent fix that's being worked on.
I'm hoping that the permanent fix, because, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I remember when that thing came to the Planning Commission, everybody was supposed to exit that south entrance, the southernmost entrance. How it passed and changed, I have no idea. I'm going to have to go dig through the records and see exactly what was done, what was said, and what was approved, because I don't believe it's being done the right way.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council members? Councilman Breyer?
I've heard of a concern this past.
Councilwoman, I'm sorry.
Okay. I've heard of a concern this past week that Meals on Wheels is experiencing difficulty having the food delivered to both Berwyn and Eaton Center to be dispensed to the seniors for the month of August. They seem to be short of help, and the warehouse is having difficulties. I don't know how we can do anything about that, but it's unheard of that they have nothing being delivered.
Okay. Thank you.
Council Chair.
Councilman Ahmad?
Thank you, Council Chair. I just want to say I'm sorry I missed a couple meetings last month for being under the weather, and thank you for ever called, texted, check on me and my family. And I also would like to congratulate Mr. Turfi and Mr. Ayub for their new position, and wish everybody a happy Labor weekend. And the next week would be back to school. I'd like to wish all our students a very successful and productive 2022-2023. Thank you very much, Council Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Council Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. I look forward to working with the mayor, the administration, and the existing Watershed Stewards Commission members to getting the entity, along with our Councilwoman Nancy Breyer's Ecorse Creek Commission, reinvigorated. We are still experiencing, like every city is, traffic problems with people speeding around, and hopefully it'll be alleviated once school starts back up again. But and I've seen some of the things up that measure people's speed. Any progress on any patrols in the neighborhoods to stop the speeders and the drag racers?
Council Chair?
Mayor.
Yeah, I know the chief, I know he's online, but we have increased, we put more police officers on the road. There's a lot of police officers in neighborhoods. I've seen them in various neighborhoods, driving around. And we are trying to address the other issue that Councilman Muscat just left. He was talking about the issue on John Daly. And there's been a lot of tickets they're given, and there's a lot, we are doing enforcement. We're doing everything we can.
Okay.
Thank you.
For me, one little just thought that just came to mind, a show I've been watching a lot lately is On Patrol Live on the Reels channel. And I got to tell you, man, my salutes to our police officers and what they go through. Just watching that show, in the amount of danger that all police officers go through day after day after day. And when I was watching that show, that's when you get like firsthand what they go through. I've fortunately never personally been involved in it. Salutes to all of our police officers for putting their lives on the line for a lot of us and do this type of work in the middle of the night, taking on one. I mean, it's exciting. Watching on TV is the easy part for me, but I salute them for all their hard work. So I appreciate everything they do for us. And this show has given me a whole another appreciation for police officers, and I thank them. The second thing I want to talk about is we have a pride garden that's out here at City Hall, and there was another one by Director McCaffrey that was put in at the library. And that pride garden was started by the CCRC, one of our commissions that was started by our current mayor. And that garden there was supposed to be there for, inclusivity, for different residents, different races, different backgrounds, different choices in life, different whatever it is that you do in life. And you may or may not agree with people throughout our community. Whatever your feelings are is up to you. And I'm glad that our police officers did the right work, and they have a couple of, without getting into the details, but they have a couple, 2, 3, 4 different situations that they're working on. I'll leave it at that. But take that on the side, doing damage to city property or this type of a garden, and just, thinking that you could just walk up to anything and then just damage it and then just walk away from it is just not going to be acceptable, not by the commission, not by the city, and not by the council. And I'm sure I can speak for the council as a whole. So whoever's doing this, I commend for the police department for what they've done so far, and they have my full support to take this thing to the highest extent of the law, because this is not acceptable to be able to walk up to any property on City Hall, damage it, and think you could just walk away from it, and the police department is not going to do nothing on it. So again, they have investigated it, and all I'm saying is what's public. If you read in the papers, you'll see that they have a couple of good leads that they are working with, and I'm not going to go any further than that. Thank you.
Council Chair?
Councilman Wenzel, go ahead.
Okay. I might have misspoke, I'm not sure, stating that the Watershed Steward Commission was only made a profit. The Community Cultural Relations Commission, they might have a profit, I'm not sure. I know they're trying to. But speaking of the CCRC, these incidents that happened to the Pride Gardens, there's a lot of community groups and residents that spend a lot of time on these gardens, and it's no disrespect to the council chair, but these aren't acts of vandalism. These are hate crimes. It's specifically targeted to these pride gardens. It's not the windows at the library or anything else. It's specifically targeted to these pride gardens, and I'm not sure what avenue they want to pursue. I hope it's not just a vandalism. This should be classified as a hate crime. Can't be tolerated in our city or any city in the world. It's terrible that this is happening, and the fact that it's happening over and over again just goes to show you that they are targeting this pride garden, and it's terrible. It just can't be tolerated. We bring in whatever authorities we need to bring in, because this is a hate crime. This isn't vandalism. This is a hate crime. And one other thing is, I'm really very upset with my fellow council members, most of them, for voting on the foster care. Out of all 7 of us sitting up here, or all of us sitting up here, I can guarantee you I've had more experience with foster care and foster care children than all of you combined. And I'm the only one with the experience, and I stated my opinion and my concerns, and they're basically ignored. The safety of children, council members have children out here. Would you have your child in a facility with adults that can't take care of themselves, and your children are in the same building? Would you allow that comfortably? Because you voted yes on that. So shame on you if that's the way you feel.
Point of order, Councilman, please.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
Okay, Councilman, let's go to the next subject, because
Okay.
otherwise I'll answer back. So let's just go to the next subject.
Okay.
I just want to leave it for the record, Council Chair. Sorry to interrupt, but I have a lot of background with foster care, and if there's one that you want to look up, it's called the AMER Act, if you're not so familiar with. And this, from what the gentleman had spoken about earlier today, that there would be two different exits and entrances, so that there's no interference between the two. But I just want
And
you
not
know
to mention,
that-
let's not imply like,
This happens.
I know, but let's not imply like some of our parents that will potentially be put there, you're already tagging them as potentially somebody's coming after children. So, Councilman, let's go to the next
No,
subject,
I'm
because
not-
otherwise I don't want to debate this. Let's just go to the next subject.
So I've got experience with it. Have you ever been in facilities? I have.
No, I've not, but you're bad mouthing,
No, I'm not bad. I said I was in favor of both of them, 100% in favor of the adult daycare and the foster care, but not
It's already been
combining them.
voted on.
I know. I'm saying that this is.
let's not go into shaming, please, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, like Councilman Ahmed said that it's back to school time. So that means a lot more traffic in the mornings, and in a few months from now, it'll be dark in the morning. So let's take extra care driving in the mornings and at 3 o'clock-ish in the afternoons, these children are crossing the streets. We don't want to have any accidents, unfortunate accidents to happen. And I wanted to mention something about the event coming up this Thursday, but I think Director Lauren Sell is on. I'm sure she's going to mention something about it. It's a family event. I'm stressed family involvement in the city and with your place of worship. And I know that Leslie Windlass are you going to speak on your food bank grant thing? They're doing a great job getting the community food banks together, and I know that they're looking for grant money for that. Congratulations on what you're doing for the community. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Council Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any other council members? I'm going to go ahead and go to administration. Nobody else on the council? Next up, we're going to go to administration.
The chief wanted to say something.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go to
He wanted to
administration
address
next.
somebody's concerns.
Oh, Chief, are you addressing something that was mentioned by council members? Okay, I will go ahead and, let's go to the chief first.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you for giving me the time. I just wanted to say thank you for recognizing the hard work of our police officers, although council chair watching TV and police.
Oh, I know.
You had me worried there in the beginning. But there should be a recognition for the type of calls that our police officers are responding to, the investigations that they are working hard on to solve for our community members. I just want to say that not only should we recognize them, we should also recognize the toll that it takes on our bodies, over a 20, 25, 30-year career with something that's called hypervigilance. So when you're dealing with those critical incidents, day in and day out, and your body is put through this fight or flight, it does take its toll on our bodies. So I wanted to thank you for recognizing the great work that our women and men do here at the police department. I couldn't be more proud of them, so thank you for
And you should be, and we are too, of course. Thank you. Thank you,
very
Chief.
much for your time.
Next up, anybody else from administration? Come on up, Treasurer.
Sorry, I have to move again. Good evening, Honorable Council and Honorable Mayor and residents of Dearborn Heights. The first thing I want to I have 2 points. The first thing from item 9, H, I, and J, thank you for voting to support that. Thank you, Director Cooper. Because I will tell you from the Treasurer's Office point of view that we were down a couple times because of our IT infrastructure, and this gentleman right here, what wonderful thing to be able to pick up the phone and he shows up. And he was there for us to get us operational versus having to turn away residents because we couldn't process a payment.
You have Windows 7 too?
Yeah.
Windows 7.
Yeah. So I want to say thank you, and thank you for your support, because we do need to work on that infrastructure of our IT. We really do, because it's affecting the way we serve our residents. The second thing I have for you folks this evening is I'd like to respectfully revisit motion number 22-216 that was approved by this honorable body, a resolution adopted on May 11th regarding recurring non-fee for services. And I know you probably don't have it, but I did meet with a few council members and discussed council members. What I'm asking is we revisit this because we have not received the list. It talks about creating a list of different city buildings and offices that are leased. And that way, as your treasurer, one of my jobs is to receipt that revenue. I'm not able to effectively do that without that list, which we have not received. So respectfully, that list was supposed to be completed within 30 days. I know things happen, but we need it to do our job effectively. And that way the comptroller can update the general ledger effectively and keep you updated on revenue. Otherwise, we're not collecting revenue necessarily because I don't know all the buildings and locations. So I know Madam Clerk was supposed to receive a copy. All council members were, as well as the treasurer. So again, I'm asking that please be revisited this evening. Well, not this evening, but revisited because we really need to get that list completed. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Council Chair.
Thank you, ma'am.
Treasurer, are you still up there?
Yes.
Council Chair. What do you recommend we do with that?
The list was, when you read the resolution, it was put back to the mayor's office, I believe the administration. We did have a letter, I have copies here. Well, I don't have copies, I have the original email that I saved. But that was, the information was being collected, right, from other departments. And that was last discussed on May 20th, 2022, 10:13 a.m. So everybody, there's a spreadsheet, and all the departments were to add what they knew, because part of the resolution includes, for example, Parks and Rec may be the department head that the mayor decides, right, that has oversight of the lease agreement for Canfield or the golf course because it falls under recreation. So again, looking for that completion of that list. I'm not pointing a finger at anybody. I'm just saying we don't have it. And I think it's really important because I know under the responsibilities of the work that goes with this and the procedure that was included, the internal procedure, I'm not able to do my job effectively without that. I need to have that list identify where those locations are, how much their lease is it monthly, is it a percent, is it a flat rate, who's the department head that is assigned to that project or that particular, property. Okay, that's really important to being able to execute what this council body actually, you legislated, you recommended. And I agree with you because this is part of the problem that we experienced with the Canfield Ice Arena years ago. I think it went 3 years without rent being collected. So I don't want to see that happen because I don't want to see revenue left on the table, not being collected as we should.
Madam Treasurer, are you asking us for the list, or who are you asking?
No, you guys are included.
Who are you asking to get the list?
I believe the list, and I apologize because I don't notice, I don't see, excuse me, our chief of staff here, and I have sent her emails, but she may be off this week, so I apologize. That's why I said respectfully, because I want to be respectful, but we need to get that list completed, and I believe it is with all due respect, the chief of staff was working on it, correct? Is that your take on it too? Because that was who was collecting the information initially. So we're just looking for that to be completed.
Thank you.
Could she recommend putting it on the agenda for next meeting?
Well, no, it's already.
I'm going to tell you honestly, but some of this stuff honestly should be just interdepartmental. I mean, they're right across from each other in the hallway. Of course, they have each other's emails.
With all due respect,
But it doesn't have to be
Council
announced
Chair, I was
here.
asked to bring it up this evening by other council members, which I'm not going to name. Okay, I talked to other council members. I talked to different people who are on this resolution to receive the information. They said, bring it up at the council meeting, and that's why.
But then with
And
due
I did send
respect,
previous emails.
but then with due respect to whoever that particular council member is, that's something that, you email, if something you needed, you email the administration, you say, I'd like to have this. If the particular council members, let's use hypothetically, it's me, I emailed the department, the administration, say we need this. Somebody calls somebody, doesn't that need to be announced honestly at a council meeting?
Respectfully,
So whoever the council
Okay.
member is trying to jump over so they could politicize, no more, no less.
No, this is not grandstanding. I did send emails to follow up. Anyone who knows, I do follow up. I do have that record. But again, I'm not trying to stir a pot here. What I'm trying to do is get the information that you, as a council body, by resolution adopted, and to see if we can get that information so the rest, like the treasurer, the comptroller, can effectively do our jobs.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Treasurer.
Thank you.
Any other members from administration?
Chair?
Yes, Mayor.
I just want to announce, so tomorrow, it is tomorrow, we have a health fair, it's health and wellness, and we have backpack giveaway. We have a couple hundred backpacks that we're going to be giving away. It's going to be at the Richard A. Young. Wednesday, again, the 24th, that's tomorrow, 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. We have several entities that will be there. They'll be checking, they're doing health screening. There's mental health also. Somebody will be there to talk about that as well. They'll check vital signs, heart monitoring. There's blood pressure screening as well. COVID-19 testing for 3 years and older. There's several entities, as I mentioned. There's Garden City Hospital, Target will be there. Detroit Rescue Mission, Wayne Health, Molina, Meridian. Also, Big Hap is going to be there as well.
Okay.
So I advise any residents to come in, especially senior citizens, especially the ones that don't have insurance. They can come down, and we're partnering with World Medical Relief. They're going to have a mobile trailer with doctors and nurses on staff. So.
And I also know it's on Facebook page for
we
City
put
Hall
on,
for more information.
we did
But if they need to contact somebody for more information, who do they call? The mayor's office?
Well, tomorrow, I'll be there tomorrow morning, so you call me, I'll be at
Okay,
the
so just go to the Facebook page if it's tonight?
Yeah,
Okay.
or just come tomorrow. It's going to be, we'll be there at 9 o'clock to set up, and 10 o'clock, any resident is welcome.
Okay.
It's free.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay.
And free backpacks, right?
Yes, till while supplies last.
So it's from when to when, like from 9 till?
10, 9 is set up, so it'll be 10 a.m. till 3 p.m.
Okay. Let me go to somebody on Zoom, and then we'll come right back and we'll switch them back and forth. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go next to Hassan Jamal. Go ahead, sir. Director, I'm sorry.
Again, can I be as short as possible? Thank you. I'm gonna focus on, as the ex officio for the Coast Creek Commission, I really need to recognize the hard work that this commission did in the past very short, probably 6-7 months, with the success in bringing up all the issues regarding the flood of the Coast Creek, helping the administration to do administrative actions and activities to bring it to the legislative body. There are two different commissions, municipal commissions, I really need to focus on for less than 30 seconds. There are quasi-governmental commissions that they are required by law, by regulation, by the charter. And there are commissions that they are an arm, supportive arm for the administrative part of the municipal government, that they are the arms, the divisions that they help the mayor and the staff, the administrative staff, to bring to the legislative, which is the council, to assist the city. So when the mayor and the administration suggest changes for the administrative commissions, that's suggestion, that's kind of like proposal to you to make the decision.
Okay. Thank you, Director.
Let me focus on the grant part of it. Right now, we are processing with wait a very large grant review. One of them is to do scoping for the watersheds in the city. That includes and combined the watershed effect on our stormwaters and in particular Ecorse Creek and little bit with the Rouge River. So from that point of view, it's one grant for all. How much that can be combined or not combined, a proposal for you to do. It's not controversial or anything. It's just proposal for you to look at it.
Okay.
To see if it's better or not. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director. Next up, we're going to go ahead and go this way. Yeah, actually, we always go ladies first, Mike. So yeah, I got to do this one. I can't get in trouble with my mom. So our Director, Kim Lawrence-Sells, next, then we'll have Mike from the library go up next.
Hi, I'd just like to remind everybody about the concert that we've got Thursday night at Warren Valley Golf Course. It runs from 7 to 10 p.m. We've got the band called the Phoenix Theory. We also have a lot of kids.
Wait,
activities
Director,
going on.
after you said the band name, and then you
The
got cut
band-
off.
Yeah, thank you. The band's name is Phoenix Theory, and they play a lot of great music that everybody's going to recognize. And we've got kids' activities and things like that going on throughout the whole evening. So it should be a last a bang effort to have a great time at the end of the summer in Dearborn Heights. So we hope to see everybody there.
Okay, thank you, Director. Next up, we're going to see our library director. Come on up, sir.
Poor guy had to take a break.
Yeah, I know, I've moved a couple chairs there. Hello, Council Chair and Mayor. Just wanted to talk about a couple things. First off, Saturday, September 10th from 1 to 4 p.m. at Carolyn Kennedy Library and John F. Kennedy Jr. Library. We will be having an open house. Come on out for a comedy magic show, drone demonstrations, giveaways, bounce houses, snacks, popcorn, and more. Should be a great time, so hope to see you all there. That's all for now. Thanks for your time and see you at the library. One more quick note. I also wanted to thank our building maintenance department. Over the summer, over the past couple months in the hot blazing sun, we're able to put down mulch at JFK, and we're working on CK here and finishing it up. And I wanted to thank Chris Deshawn for a lot of work that he did, Mike Blackburn for helping out, also a couple staff, AJ and Saba, who helped pull a lot of weeds, involves pulling every weed out, laying down burlap, and then getting dump trucks of mulch and putting it down. Not always a fun task, but I wanted to send some appreciation their way.
Thanks,
so.
Mike. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Mike.
All right, thanks.
Any other director?
I'm sorry, did you mention, may I, Council Chair?
Go ahead.
Did you mention the dates for the magic show?
Oh, yeah, September 10th, Saturday, September 10th from 1 to 4 p.m. I know that's a little bit off, but this is actually the last meeting before then, so I had to kind of get that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and Director Lawrence-Sell, you have something to update us with? Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to put my hand down. I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director. Any other directors or anybody from administration? Councilwoman, go ahead.
Yes, I have three things. First of all, the Ecorse Creek has a meeting tomorrow night, 6 p.m. at 3335 South Beach Daily, and that's at 6. And we will obviously talk about things continued from tonight. And then Thursday, the South Dearborn Heights Civic Association is happy to welcome our police chief, Hart, and he will be addressing a continuation of what we've discussed. Plus, I think he's hoping to bring someone that will talk to us about scams and fraud as well.
What
So
day
that
is that?
should be an interesting
Tomorrow.
Thursday, this Thursday, the 25th, 7 p.m. Huh?
The Ecorse Creek or the
That's the
Southwest?
Civic Association. Yes, that's 7 to 9. And so we're very happy to have him come and meet people and answer any questions you might have about how we're doing and how we can do better. And then again, coming up in September 3rd, the RHS, which is the Roosevelt Robichaud High School reunion, will be at the park there at between Penn and Carlisle. and Beach Daily. And that will start at 10 a.m. in the morning, go to 7 p.m. They will have vendors on site, or you can bring your food or join some of the people you may know that went to school there. You're all welcome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. Seeing nobody else from the
Council Chair?
administration? Yes,
I
Councilman.
just wanted to, there's something that I failed to mention in Director Lawrence Sell, what, I'm not sure where, but this being the 100th anniversary of the Warren Valley Golf Course, we're putting together, and hopefully it'll be done by Thursday, it's a timeline presentation of the 100 years of the golf course, which should be on display at the concert on Thursday night.
Nice. Thank you, Councilman. All right, next up, we're going to go ahead and go to public comments. Please come on up. You'll have 3 minutes, cities, street, and name, please.
Good evening, City Council members.
Can you speak closer
Mayor.
to the mic,
Oh,
please?
yes. Good evening, City Council members, Mayor, and staff. My name is Brianna Bollinger, and I'm here on behalf of Explore Academy on 31100 Plymouth Road in Livonia. It's a tuition-free public academy, and it's authorized by CMU, and it's going to open its doors to students this September for grades 6 through 8. And we're serving students not only in the Livonia community, but in surrounding communities as well. And we actually already have a couple of students enrolled from Dearborn Heights. The school is built on the Explore learning model, which is a framework that is built on dividing a year-long course into several shorter seminars. And each seminar covers a subset of the Michigan state standards. Instruction, assessment, and grading are all truly standards-based. But what the students really care about is that every class is offered through multiple themes, or what we call flavors. And as an example, students may all be learning the same geometry standards, but they might be taking Picasso geometry and studying the shapes in different Picasso paintings, or they might be taking Design a Zoo and designing their own zoos and then using those shapes to study geometry. And through the power of choice, offering those choices to students and the classroom interaction, students are actively engaged in their learning. And students grades 6 through 8, like I mentioned, can enroll now. And it's a really great school model. I really believe in it. I think it's worth taking the time to learn more about. And we invite this council and the entire community to come to our ribbon cutting on September 1st from 4 to 7 p.m. This ribbon cutting ceremony will start right at 4. And after that, there will be school tours and free food and games. It's going to be a great community event, and we're welcoming all the surrounding communities around Livonia. And if you don't mind, I have some flyers here with some more information about our school. I'd love to hand those out to you.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Is it
No problem.
tuition-based?
Tuition-free.
Tuition-free.
Charter school.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have public comments? Come on up.
4 to 7.
Looks like good ice cream.
Thank you.
Kurt Whitmore, Hazelton Street,
Hang on a second.
My son went to.
Council members, please. Go ahead, sir.
All right, this is Kurt Whitmore, Hazelton Street, Dearborn Heights. Back to the merging of the commissions. I did not find out about this at all till last Wednesday when the mayor mentioned it to me. And at that time, I didn't mention opposition. I wasn't. It's just been a matter of the procedure. And I think that resulted in a flawed proposal to this commission. But just before I leave, I'd like to bring forward one part of this ordinance, which is nearly identical to the ordinance that covers the Watershed Steward Commission. And that is B14, this one sentence. The commission will render advice and will monitor and evaluate city policies, practices, and procedures which affect the city's watersheds. This is in the new proposed ordinance. So what's lacking is that the commissions that existed, as they do now, were not involved. So how can we render advice? How can we evaluate these practices, policies, and procedures if we're not involved? So I asked to be involved. I open myself up to the mayor. I am available at any time to discuss any part of this, to review any ideas, to be a sounding board, bounce it off of me, I bounce it off you. We can get this done. We can come together. I'm not saying this can't be done. It just needs to be done right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Come on up, sir.
Hello, my name is Robert Olata. I live on Rouge River Drive
My property backs up to the golf course, so I really appreciate going forward with making, this golf course the beautiful gem it deserves to be. In saying that, one of the things, I'm here in replace of about a dozen neighbors, because we had heard, and I had heard that they plan on denying us access to our backyards with the gates. They plan on closing that, denying us access to the golf course. The reason why I deny this is because I'm one of the neighbors there that takes care of that golf course, especially now. All the time I rake, I pick up sticks. I have machinery there that I own, John Deere tractors that I brought there with mowing decks, and I mow back there, the couple of the holes, and I do it for free. And it costs me a lot of money with gas prices. It's expensive. Neighbors are always thanking me, offering me money and stuff. I said, no, it's fine. And we oppose denying us access to that golf course to be able to do this and help out. It's something I like to continue in the future, going back there, picking up sticks, doing things that the regular maintenance people don't do. I have to look through my back window and see that every morning. I have to sit back there and see that golf course. And I don't like it falling to pieces. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm maintaining our area. Some of us neighbors do maintain our areas. I know there's people that go back there and maybe do things they shouldn't do. We're not those people. We look after the area. If somebody's riding, let's say, something back there they shouldn't be, we'll call the police. We'll say something to them. We look after our area. We shouldn't be denied access to that golf course. Those gates have been there for decades. I don't know how long, but ever since I've been there for over 10 years.
Okay. And although I respect your comments, sir, you do understand, obviously, we are not at liberty as a body to authorize you access. So the why part, to have or not have access, the things that you're doing, I commend you for it. God bless you, obviously. But anything would have to be through administration and corporation council. We are not the ones to
Right.
enforce.
I just wanted to put on record that, I'm back there doing a lot of work for free, in the hot sun, gas prices.
And I hope you don't have to do that anymore with the new organization that's going in there.
I appreciate that.
Plans.
But, there was, people in the past are maintaining it too, and I would go above and beyond that and go back there. Like, I had a big tree branch fall across power lines last month, and it busted the fence. I'm repairing that fence out of my pocket. There was trees, stuff everywhere. I was chainsawing all that. The neighbors, each side of me and myself, we were cleaning all that up. Nobody came out to do that, not from the city or anybody that's going to look to maintain it in the future. I was doing all that, as I normally do. I was taught, by some good people to respect the city I live in. One is my mother, the other one is the late Marge Horvath, which is a good friend of mine, yeah. So I was taught to take care of the city and look after it, and I do.
Thank you so
and
much.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just hate to be denied access to that golf course to take care of what I look at every day.
So corporation councilor's got something, go ahead.
Basically, it is a lease, and the tenant that's in there has occupancy of the property and can determine who goes or comes into the property, except with our certain ability at times to end up being able to use the property.
Correct.
Per the lease. So if the gentleman is to contact perhaps the tenant, we might be able to make some sort of arrangement, but it would have to be arranged through them.
But I think at this particular point, sir, let's give this particular tenant the opportunity. I mean, they're starting right away, and there's a lot of work to be done. Let's give them an opportunity to do what they need to do, then maybe after that you could approach them and then go from there.
I was just saying, those gates have been there for who knows how long.
But you understand the corporation councilor's point. There's a tenant in there now. So here, like as a real estate agent, I can tell you. So let's say your next door neighbor to a house that I had rented it out to somebody. Let's say I was the owner, right? And they used to allow you to go into their garage. If I rent that property out now to a new tenant, Vince, let's say hypothetically, that doesn't necessarily mean you can have the same rights that you had in the past. And that's what the corporation council is. But so let's allow them to do what they need to do to clean it up and do what needs to be done to get this thing up and running. And then you can approach the particular person at that point.
I also want to say, you to be involved in real estate, don't you agree that happy neighbors?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, I commend you. Hey, you know what? I commend you, sir. And I agree with you, Mom. And I agree with, God rest her soul, former councilwoman Marge Horvath. You know, you roll up your sleeves and you do what needs to be done. God bless you for that. Old school, I love it. But at the same time, in terms of legalese, you don't understand in terms of a corporation counselor, you know, there's a person that's taking that property over right now. You got to go through him. But meanwhile, though, let's allow him to do what he needs to do to clean it up, and then you can approach him and do what you need to do.
Opportunity to let you know that there are good neighbors out there that are willing to.
Absolutely.
And take care of, especially now with it being overgrown and trees falling down, whatever. I've been out there all around that area, collecting and cutting up trees and doing all that stuff on my own.
God bless you for what you've done. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Can I just add something on here, sir? And if you'd like, I can get with you, and maybe we can talk to Mr. Issa. I'm sure he wouldn't oppose to it. I don't want to give you my word on it, but I can tell you right now, he's a very laid-back man.
I don't know if I'd say laid back.
Yeah, I we'll connect later, and I'll connect you with him, and I'm sure he'll be okay with it.
Yeah, because like I said, I'm here in replacement of a dozen neighbors. And,
Sure.
You know, I saw, I go in there, we don't need to have, you know, a dozen neighbors in here complaining and yelling into the microphone, all that. I want to come up here and just.
No problem. Thank you, sir.
There are good people out there, as there are people that do things that probably shouldn't. We're not those.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comments? Whoever would like to, come on up. Mike, you know the drill, but also mention if you're speaking as a employee of the city or as an individual.
Speaking as a resident.
I'm sorry?
Speaking as a resident.
Okay, go ahead.
Mike Blackburn, Arnold Street, Dearborn Heights. When the whole contract with the golf course is going on, a lot of animation, hours and hours and hours spent. One thing Councilman Muscat had said was that the city owns the golf course, it's our property. It doesn't belong to one person, it belongs to every city resident. It's ours, it's everybody's, it belongs to us. So everybody in this room, most of these people in the room is us. So what I'm looking for is there any update on the destruction of property to our property?
Council Chair, this is ridiculous. You know, we keep addressing the same issue. If there's an investigation, we're not gonna address it here. You know, the chief's already told you. I don't know what more do you want. You know, we've addressed that. If there's an investigation, we can't discuss it.
And at the time, the corporation counsel
Especially
and the
the
chief
last
said they
time.
can't address it.
And Council Chair, last time he mentioned somebody's name, I've gotten dozens of calls to call him out for mentioning people's name on council. I mean, this is ridiculous that we keep talking about the same thing.
Okay.
The guy was caught in the act. The person's name was in the police.
Council Chair.
The person's name was in the police report.
How do you know there was a police, how do you know, did you get the police report? Council Chair, this is ridiculous.
Okay.
And.
Okay, but just to be fair, Mike.
I didn't mention his name.
I know, but.
Doesn't matter,
just to be
you did
fair,
last time.
The corporation counselor and the chief said that there's an investigation, they're handling it. It's not for us to be able to talk about it.
What is ridiculous, it's been a month. Everything was there. It does not take that long. And from what I was told, the city is not pressing charges, and I want to know why. There are 8 elected people up there. I want honest answers from 8 people as to what is going on. Why has nothing been done? Is the city filing charges, or are they not? Let's be honest. Let's have some honesty for once.
This council can't tell you that, we don't know.
I don't even know.
Guys.
You should know.
Why?
It's yours.
No.
Somebody destroyed city property.
Point of order.
We need
Talk
to know.
through the chair, please. Okay, again, this is something, that question that you'd have to the police chief. We cannot personally answer it. We all set on your end?
Yep.
Okay. Corporation
Council Chair, first of all, anything with respect to the status of any investigation, I would defer to the chief of police with respect to that issue. Secondly, I have not had presented to me anything with respect to potential charges being issued. I would note, however, with respect to that, it might not be a matter of the city pressing charges, namely myself as prosecutor. It may be a matter of the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office dealing with the issue because of the nature of the offense and the amount of property destroyed. So I do not know what the status is with respect to that. I am not under the impression that The issue has been fully investigated. I could be wrong, and I would note that the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office can take quite some time to basically be able to evaluate charges.
Okay. Thank you, Corporation Councilor. Any other residents that would like to speak? Come on up. He asked me for an extra minute, and I told him I would authorize him.
I really enjoy when you come up to speak, I swear.
I have some handouts.
Thank you so much, sir. School safety.
Thank you.
School is starting pretty soon, so I was thinking about talking about school safety. About a year and a half ago, I'm not exactly sure the dates, but about a year and a half ago, the mayor and his staff, the superintendent of schools and his staff, and also the former police chief got together and they formed a plan of what to do if there was a mass shooting in one of the schools or some kind of other emergency. The plan they had was really good. I mean, it's just outstanding. But I just thought I would mention a couple other things to bring up. Just the first 6 months of this year, there's been 300 mass shootings in the whole country. And the most recent one was with the one in Texas, Uvalde, and there's been a lot of discussions. This happened about 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And there's been a lot of discussions of what went wrong at that Uvalde. So just to mention a couple things that may be added to their report. Schools should be hardened, which means that they're hard to enter. Now, that's already been done in Dearborn Heights because you have to be buzzed into the school. But there also should be one entry door to get into the school. All the schools don't have that. They'll tell you that, but they don't. Because I went to the middle school, Riverside, and I was going to walk into the a place where you're buzzed in, and I looked over by the auditorium. Auditorium door was open. I could have walked in and walked out. So if you have one entry door, that would be good. Also about guards. Riverside and Crestwood High School have what I would call hall monitors or guards, but they're not armed. Now, should they be, or they shouldn't, or maybe they're not, maybe they shouldn't be. There's good points and bad points for each one to be fair. The elementary schools, I don't think they have guards at all. So should there be guards at the guards or hall monitors in the 3 elementary schools? Maybe yes, maybe no. Should they be armed? Maybe yes, no. Because Uvalde was shooting at an elementary school. And then the last thing is, it has to do with the police. Police should carry a folder that lists a map of every room in the 5 schools that the city has. And not only should each room be identified by the number, because each room is numbered, there also should be a list of who teaches in which room and what subject. Because with this Uvalde, when these kids were emailing, not emailing, but texting a message to the police saying, "Come help us," then when they did that, they mentioned the person's name, like Mr. Johnson, and I'm in the science class. They never mentioned ever I'm in room 121. And if you think back to your days in middle school, high school, you never knew what room you're in. You always knew the teacher's name and the subject, so they should have that. And then the last thing is there should actually be a practice session by the police of storming the schools. Now, when would you do that? Probably the best thing to do would be like on a Sunday at 7 in the morning or Saturday at 7 in the morning and have a practice session, because that would be, I think, very helpful. Because in Uvalde, when the kids called the police went to the school and they waited an hour before they went in. Well, that's not acceptable at all. And some of the people are all going to be fired. So that's just some ideas of what could be done.
Thank you very much, sir.
Council Chair, I
Yes.
need gentleman's name and street.
Oh, my name's Ron Frenzy, live in Fairwood in glorious Dearborn Heights.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, thank you for the presentation, but I think you should go with it to the school board. I hope you can
Oh, yeah, I am,
present in front of them.
I am. Trouble is the
And
school
we have
board,
we have two school boards right now.
You have someone waiting.
Six school boards?
Yeah.
Two fully, but six.
well, they have one main one up in,
I know you mentioned 5 schools, probably that's only Crestwood, but we
yeah, that's
have-
all I'm thinking
well,
about.
we have to
But
care
I,
about.
no, I
Five
understand.
school districts.
I don't know anything about the others.
Six.
Like what, 13 schools total?
Don't know about that, I just know.
I don't know
there's
about that.
6 districts,
6 districts, 13 schools.
probably more than that.
Okay, we have Tim Emery, Tifa Chair. Can you please unmute Mr. Tim Emery? You have,
Good evening, again. I hope we get this computer thing done, reworked. The screen freezes up. And I know it's your end, because when I'm on, I notice other people that are logged in, they keep moving, but the city council stuff stops. So please, expedite that. Second, school districts. You know, when we talk about the rain gardens, and I think it froze up again, is it?
no, you're fine.
Keep going.
Okay. You know, we have, there's a school district that I'm near and dear to. Let us know when things are going on. We usually hear about it afterwards. You know, we have kids that are in the Rotaract, Interact Club. You know, we hear about things after.
Wait, you just froze up after Rotary Club, sorry.
Okay, we need to get, contact the schools, all the schools. I'm not just saying that, but we got kids that are dying that, sorry, wrong thing to say about schools, that really want to come out and help. So, you know, we are in Dearborn Heights, with great schools. Utilize us. And one thing I'd like to say, parents, when you pick up your kids in the parking lots and stuff like that, you get them in your car, instead of talking on the phone, you've got them captive audience, talk to them. You got them right there. When my wife was a crossing guard down in D7, I noticed that kids would get in the car and mothers are on the phones every day. So, I mean, great time to talk to your child.
Thank you.
Everybody happy? Like I say, you guys, we have our all-school reunion, what Nancy said. Come out and join us. If you would like to, we're glad to have you. We have a good time. So, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have resident Hassan Saab. Oh, I'm sorry. Hassan, if you could give me a sec, I'm sorry, Vince was walking up, so that's just, I don't want, come on up, Vince.
Hi, Vince
Hassan, 1 second.
Vince Trepkowski, Columbia Street.
Dearborn Heights.
Dearborn Heights, Wayne County. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Mr. Jamal is our Community and Economic Development Director, and isn't he the grant writer also?
No.
Okay. He was.
You asked if he's on Zoom, he is.
All right. So he's doing grants or he's not doing grants?
No.
Okay. I've said this, I don't know how many times, and I'm sure you've heard me say it before. Hire a grant writer. I know you got your hands full there, Mr. Mayor. You're doing a pretty good job as far as I'm concerned. But a grant writer is definitely something we've needed. And the last full-time grant writer, I believe, was Mr. Oliverio. And Mr. Oliverio's been retired for 18 years or so, maybe more. He was the economic development director, but he's also the grant writer. Trust me. Trust me, I worked there. Anyway, because we could use the money. There's a lot of money out there that we could definitely is. Also, I don't know if you've got any experience with nursing homes, Mr. Abdullah?
No
But there's,
specific
there's a specific reason why there's a separation of nursing homes that don't have children in them. Okay? That, it's just not a good match. There's a reason why the state does it, separates it.
Okay.
So
Thank
keep
you.
that in thought. I hate to hear or have anything happen bad, but just remember, you voted on it.
Yes, I did.
Again,
Thank you.
It's not a nursing home.
I know.
It's mental health or daycare, whatever, you know, it's just not a good match. Either way you look at it, Mr. Mayor. Right. Well, I heard something back here. It's not a nurse.
No, it
Okay,
wasn't-
sorry,
it
I
wasn't the mayor.
apologize.
Wasn't the mayor.
I said it.
Okay.
Pardon me? I said it. I said it's not a nursing home if you're talking about the gentleman.
Okay. Sir, before you go, there was Hassan Saab that was next, so just out of fairness. Mr. Hassan Saab, go ahead. And Director Jamal, I love you, but honestly, this is a public comment. So unless a resident asks you a question directly, I got to continue with just public comments at this point.
Thank you.
So thank you. Mr. Saab, go ahead, sir.
Unmute.
Can you unmute, please? Hassan Saab, are you on? Going once? Twice?
Unmute.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, Councilman. Okay, we'll go ahead and go to the audience, and then we'll come back to you, Mr. Saab. Come on up, sir.
Good evening, Sam Hodge, Garden Drive. In response to Vince Strapowski and several other residents, including Tom Winsell, about the foster care and the adult daycare, regardless whether you guys give them permission or not, the only part that you guys will do is permit Eternal Light to operate. However, it's mandatory, just like several other businesses that I run, I own myself. Even if I obtain the city zoning, you guys are allowing me to do so, and the state will come back and they have their own requirement, their own mandatory. Even if you guys permit them to open up, the state might not allow them, regardless.
Correct. And that's what I mentioned earlier. Correct. Thank you, sir. So, and just to clarify, we as council members right now are just allowing the rezoning of that particular parcel. That's all we are as a council members voting on. Yeah, we're not approving the building or anything along that lines. Obviously, I'm sorry?
It could get thrown out by the state for any.
Correct. So even if we are not approving the building. All we are approving is a zoning change on that particular parcel. Any building approval goes through the building department, and any administrative approvals for that particular facility and how it's going to be run is obviously through the state and the county. Thank you. Of course. Thank you, sir. Anybody else in the audience that would like to comment? If not, we'll go ahead. Hassan Saab, can you unmute, please?
Here it is.
He is? Oh, okay, so go ahead, sir. Name, street, city.
Hassan Saab, John Daly, Dearborn Heights. So this comment is gonna go to the city hall and to the police chief, Chief Hart. I have one concern. I don't care how much it's gonna cost me personally to get this information. This was brought up by a certain officer. And any councilman that wants to reach out to me in person, I'm willing to talk to them. Chief, I'm gonna ask you directly this and to the mayor. I want the overtime for the police department to be looked into by FOIA the sheets. I want every single overtime for the past year of every single officer, and especially the officers in the Detective Bureau. And I'm directing this comment towards them directly, because this comment came directly from them towards me. I'm asking the mayor, I'm asking the chief, and I'm asking the whole city. This is taxpayer money. I want their overtime looked into. If the city does not have the manpower, I'm willing to pay for an external firm to come audit the overtime in the city. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other public comments? In person or on Zoom?
Council Chair.
Go ahead.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn by Councilman Baydoun. Any second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Muscat. Any discussion? All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much, and good night, ladies and
Council Chair,
gentlemen.
for a great meeting.
Thank you.